Time for Bomber Banter. Now over to Fiona.
Hello everyone, welcome to Bomber Banter. It's so nice to be back. Oh my gosh, I'll never get used to this intro because my brain convinces me that nobody's watching and I'm talking to myself and I'm asking myself how I am. Anyway, how is everybody? Anybody missing football yet? Like me? Anybody crazy enough to be missing football? Hello, everybody in the chat. Troy, you're a day early. That's okay. I love the keenness. I love that. Brett, love your enthusiasm. TL, how are you? Moby, thank you so much for starting me off on a high note. Appreciate you as always. Jade, wonderful to see you today. Lovely. Thank you. I have my 2 meter Peter magnet up on my fridge. Thank you so much. Pete, Dread, how are you? Dennis, Snazzy, hello Charlie. You're missing football. Oh, yeah. If I could go back in time to tell my very young self that I won't experience this again, so stop enjoying Barbies and dolls and you know, dress ups and all of that and actually focus on football and enjoy the football and try and go to the football, I would go back in time and tell myself that. Hello, Adam. Hello, Robert. Richard, how are you? Collingwood spying on us today. Who is Collingwood? I don't get that. As you all know, training was back today for the 1 to 4s, but it wasn't just the 1 to 4s. It was the 1 to everybody's because there was no age group that was not represented today. There was a very, very big contingent, probably some track watchers who go regularly every year can speak of this more, but I don't know if day one of preseason there has ever been such a huge contingent of the entire list. There were 4 missing completely. 1 player did not touch grass or move on to the grass, only one, and that is Harry Jones, who was on a stationary bike for the whole session, which is totally fine, but the rest of them were out there. The 4 notable absentees were Zack Merritt, Gresham, Perkins, and Nick Bryan. Otherwise, everybody else was out there, which was fantastic, including Jackson Binns, who was delisted from Carlton earlier this year and is hopefully potentially trying out for an SSP train-on role or spot, I guess, on our list. He was, when I say flying, I mean you don't get the sense of how fast he is unless you're there. And not just, he obviously, you all would have seen he won the 2K time trial that they did, but in the drills, in the skills, he was flying. Every time you blink and someone's whooshed past your eyes, I said to someone I was with, who was that? And every time it was Jackson Binns. So I wonder if he could just by virtue of being very, very fast, could get a position on the list. What else? So they did start the session with the 2K time trial. Not everyone participated. Notable that the likes of Sam Durham, for example, he was a little bit restricted today, but I have been reassured there is absolutely nothing wrong with him. He is 100% good to go. They are just managing his loads. He, and I quote, said that he wanted to participate in the 2K time trial to get the lungs burning, but they said to him, there is no need, just sit this one out. So the 2K time trial was more the 1 to 2 year players, 1 to 3. I was racking my brain, who are our 4th year players, and realised that we actually have no 4th year players left on the list. So by virtue of that, it was 1 to 3 year players who were in the time trial. Binns absolutely flew past. He held a lead for the entire way, and we know how fast Angus Clark is. He was on second, coming up second for the whole time. They all looked like they were running well, but so they should at this time of the year. The one thing I loved is that everyone looked fit, and when I say fit, they looked healthy. Even the ones on restricted plans looked healthy. So that will be music to everybody's ears, I hope. Matt Innes now just has to Just keep them that way, basically. Really restricted loads and kind of individuals who didn't partake in any of the drills or simulations were obviously Edwards. Cox did a few, and just sending all the love and light and happiness, happy dances Cox's way. He's been given the all clear to integrate into full training. So good on him, and let's just give him a chance to shine now and sit back and hopefully watch him fulfill some potential. Who else didn't do full training? Edwards, obviously, I said that. Mardo ran laps most of the day, didn't do any ball work. I'm told it's going to be very much with Nick Martin. There's going to be no timeline, usual ACL recovery timeline when it comes to Nick Martin. He is going to have to be tied down, just like you have to tie Nate Caddy down from wanting to do everything and to climb mountains. You're going to have to tie Nick Martin down because he will be ready to go. He looks like he's ready to go right now. He's so ahead of schedule at the moment. I'm told that his personal, goal is Anzac Day, which is wonderful that he has that in mind. I believe it's going to be a little bit ambitious, but the way he's looking and his mind, he's just absolutely humming at the moment. So the fitness, the health, everyone looked healthy, Parrish was the other one who was not there either. So the 5 of them. I said 4 because I didn't count Nick Bryan because he's technically, recovering still. So the 4 pure health-wise ones who weren't there, Parrish, Gresham, Merritt, and did I say Parrish? Oh, my God. There was a 4th who wasn't there. Oh, and Perkins, yeah. So that was the 4 healthy ones that were there, not there. What else? All right, I told you I was going to say 2 things I loved, 1 thing I didn't. So the 1 thing I loved, the intensity for a first day back session. The intensity was very high. I won't say there wasn't a light-hearted, jovial energy about the group today, and I say that in a good way. I know that sounds like it's got a negative connotation to it, but it was replaced with a more of a locked-in, focused, energized energy. That's not to say that they were grumpy or in a bad mood, but they were focused. There wasn't a lot of convos or lighthearted chatter or carry on behind the scenes going on. And for day 1 of preseason, you usually would expect a bit of that, but I say this again in a really good way. The likes of Redmond, Langford, Ridley even McGrath looked just quite focused and a bit more serious than they probably would in the past. I loved it. I thought that energy was positive and a great first day energy to be omitting to the younger 1 to 4 year players. So I did love that. GPAT, thank you so much. Good news. 0 years since we lost a wild card game. Hey, does it still count? Hell yeah. Who the fuck is saying it doesn't count if Essendon win a wild card final? Hell yeah, it counts. Fuck yeah. Don't let anybody tell you it doesn't count. It counts. Atush, I love you. Alcatraz FC, till the end. Thank you very much. What was I saying? Oh, yeah. Intensity, high intense session, definitely much more high intense. You will love this. They were doing this recall thing all day. So basically for the majority of the day, they were in groups of 3 across the entire ground. 2 of the groups would be doing mini match simulation type exercises, and then 1 group would be doing skills in a smaller type group. And at any given moment, Matt Innes would blow the whistle. So I don't know if any of you ever played fruit salad when you're at school, but pretty much when the teacher yells fruit salad, every single fruit or person has to run to the other end of the ground. So when the whistle was blown, every single player, no matter what they were in the middle of doing, no matter what they had just done, had to just stop and gut run to the far end of the ground. So, for example, Kako could have just laid a run down tackle. 2 metre Peter could have just done a 15-minute run up or made a 15-metre lead and they'd have to stop and just bolt right down to the other end of the ground. And that happened 4 or 5 times throughout the entire day. So as you can imagine, that is obviously building fitness, but it's also training their brains to stop and transition into defensive. Well, not technically defense, they're not defending, but just training their minds to snap from one mode to the next. And then that was then mirrored by a real emphasis on defending quicker. So Mason Redmond today was just bellowing, defend quicker in moments when he was doing simulation. And it was amazing. It was amazing to see that kind of intent on fast ball movement, really quick, free-flowing, fluid ball movement. What I liked that I did not see at training last preseason that I saw today was, what if it wasn't happening, if they weren't nailing something, the drill was stopped. Or even Cam Roberts, who is never really vocal at all, was on his high horse and stopping the drill, telling him to reposition, to go again and defend quicker. So that was really great. That was the first thing. The second thing I loved was Matt Innes. Now, do you all remember when Kane Corns went on and on about how Michael Voss was wonderful because he had a presence and Alistair Clarkson had lost his presence, or whatever you want to call it? Matt Innes has a presence. He has a presence. He's the kind of guy who doesn't get bullied into doing anything, or if he believes in something, he's not getting bullied or talked out of it by anybody. He was in a good mood, but he looked like he knew he's got a big job. He knows he's got a big job ahead of him, but he is so locked in and ready to go. Very leader energy, no follow-up. He looked incredibly, incredibly sound, completely different. Sean Murphy was quite vocal at training. Obviously, they run training, but Matt Innes, again, stopping drills, stopping dropped balls, dropped marks, missed kicks, and picking up on them in the moment, which is what we love. They're the two things I loved from training. The one thing I didn't love was the skill level wasn't elite, polished. Maybe it's okay for day one of preseason. And when I say that, I mean few short passes, easy kicks that didn't make the distance. I'm probably really, really tit-bitting here, and I'm clutching at straws. But so long as that stuff is being picked up on and told to them, and I'm seeing clear improvement the next week or the next training session, I'm okay with it and I'm comfortable with it for now. I will say Braden Fiorini and Zach Johnson did not miss one handball, one kick for the entire day. Both of them were as polished and as clean as you will ever see. And if that is a sign for the future, then bring that on, because that was bloody wonderful. Okay, before I move on, 3 players I want to shout out because they are players who will never get love from any fans, media. They just fade into the background, but 3 things I noticed today about 3 lesser-liked players. 1, Liam McMahon. He has been working on his agility. He looked quick, fast, way faster than he did in the games we saw him this year. I dare say, I don't know his time from the time trial, but I dare say he would have done a PB because he looked really, really quick. The second one, Archie Wicks, looked, yes, I know, only Carlton, your man, Carlton Blues man. I know, I love you, but I really hope he absolutely smashes it next year. The second one, Archie Wicks, he's got very meatball energy about him. He has filled out beautifully. He looks strong. If he can hone some of that, Dion Prestia energy and talent, then we'll have a good thing there. So shout out to him. And the third one was Saad Al-Huli, who was running really, really well. He finished 4th in the time trial and was pretty much up near the front the whole time. So I thought he ran really well, and he looked pretty silky too with his skills. That's another one. Oh, is that true, Moby? McMahon and Fiorini went to the same state high school. Okay, yes. Fiorini grew up in the Preston area, so that's interesting. Liam was your VFL captain and probably 10 times the player. And man, Charlie Curnow is now. Oof. I'm feeling the fire there. Atush, are you going to be booing the great man when you play Swans? Are you going to go up to the SCG if you play there and watch your mate Charlie? I see that he was back at training today. Anyway, okay, that's a summation of training. Any questions? Anything else you want to know? What else have I got in my notes here? That's pretty much it. Yeah, I've written that he would just blow the whistle at random and they'd all have to bolt to the other end of the ground. So that was good. Redmond very vocal, which was great. Yeah. I think that's pretty much it for training. What else do you want to hear about? Hello, Sonia. How are you? Fiorini is a luxury to just turn up and play so good. Yeah, and think about the defensive attributes he has, adding that to his already ingrained capabilities. I mean, it's just been such a great sound pickup from us for giving not much up. That's really, 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 really positive. He's a baller. You guys are going to hinge him. Let's hope. Archer May, he looks like he's added on some size. The other exciting one, but he gets talked about a lot, and the one that you're not going to hold back is Nate Caddy. He looked exceptional, just absolutely chef's kiss, as you know I all love to say. Guys, I forgot to put the link in the chat. Why didn't you tell me? Oh, there's the link. Friends, jump on. Excuse everybody, I really want to talk about this wild card, this whole wild card idea and series and situation that the AFL has implemented. I want someone to come on. Actually, why doesn't a newbie come on and talk to me about this? I want a newbie or an old friend who hasn't come on in a long time to come on and explain to me, because I don't really watch American football, but I'm told that that the wild card round series concept is big in American sports. So I want somebody to come on and tell me how it goes in American sports. Are fans receptive to it? Does it work? And in turn, will it work in AFL? I kind of feel like I shouldn't. I say I can't. I shouldn't judge something until I see it. So maybe I just have to wait and see. I also think that I look at the ladder this year and I think, well, there were a lot of teams on the precipice of making the 8 purely based on percentage. So it's not necessarily awarding mediocrity if the team above you got in by 2%, or does that dilute it a bit? I don't know. I would love someone to come on and be really for the wild card and tell me why it's great, because I know majority of people are going to be against it. So if someone really loves the concept, and bonus if you're a newbie, and it will be your welcome debut to Bomber Banter, bonus points. All right. Let's have a chat.
Hello.
My friend, do you have a new haircut, do you?
Oh, yeah, a bit Matt Guelphy-esque, you know.
You have gone Guelphy-esque. I think Caddy was rocking the blonde today too.
Yeah,
so
Caddy, Guelphy, a bit inspired by them.
And before you chat to me about Bombers, what exam do you have tomorrow?
I have PE exam tomorrow.
You have a PE exam, okay.
Yeah, PE
right,
exam
so
tomorrow.
Getting you on nice and early here tonight, Charlie, and so you can go lock yourself in your bedroom and study up for that.
Yeah, for sure. But I was listening to what you were saying just then. I'm a big NBA fan, and they do a similar sort of system as the wild card round. So they have like a play-in tournament, and it's like it gives more teams a chance to Clinton's here. Sorry, it's just
hello, legend. How are you?
Good, thanks. Good.
So it gives more teams to have the ability to have like a 2016 Western Bulldogs run, which I think everyone loves to see. Like everyone loves those sort of underdog stories, and like a couple have happened, Winter Hill is very right about that. It did lower my IQ
All right,
by a couple of
let's
points. Yeah.
What is that? Because the bleach is going to seep into the brain cells. Is that
No,
what you're implying?
Going blonde. Going blonde.
Yellow.
Oh, you mean? Oh, I just didn't want to offend all the blondies because
No.
I know we have some wonderful blonde fans. But anyway, continue. So NBA, okay, yeah.
Yeah, so it gives a lot of.
No, let's go back.
Mum, no.
It's yellow.
Mum, stop. Okay, so it gives.
Okay, Sophie's not a fan of the hair. Okay.
Hey, girl.
Mum says.
Hey,
hi.
Soph.
So, yeah.
I'll say hi in a minute.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, it gives a lot of teams the ability to just do that sort of run, and it creates like great narratives, and it's a really fun concept, and I think the AFL adopting it is really great, to be honest.
Good.
I'm a big fan for it, and if you look at a team like the Bulldogs this year, who really showed flashes throughout the year, if they can show flashes in one or two of those finals games from the wildcard round, but they're just missing out on 9th. And I think it's a great concept. And I was having a debate about it today with my friend who goes for Carlton. And they were like, I hate it. The game's gone. What is this? And I said, if this existed in 2023, when Jamie Elliott put you guys in 9th and it was in the last minute, would you really be complaining about a wild card round then? Or are you just upset about it now? Think about yourself in 2023 and what you would have said then. So
that's so true. Context matters.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of there's a lot of upside to it, and I think I'm big for the wild card round for sure.
So how often in the NBA and I'm assuming it's a thing in other American sports, right? Not just NBA. Yeah. So how often do the wildcard teams actually go on and win the entire things or or push far into, I don't know, is it championships? I don't know what the technical call is.
They do go pretty far sometimes, but I don't think they've ever actually won necessarily. But I remember it was in 2023, Miami got to the grand final and they were in 8th position after the wildcard round of the wild
so
card
what
round.
They don't have a top 8? What's the top?
So it's the top 10. So it's the same. It's pretty much the exact same format as what we're going into, and then it becomes a top 8. So then they, after the wild card round, went into 8th, and they got all the way to the finals and to the grand final. It was great. It was really good. And it was
has that been something that's been a sorry? Has that been something that's been a thing in the NBA for a long time, or did they implement it?
Yeah, they only implemented it 5 years ago, I want to say.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's obviously working well, and fans have taken to it, I'm assuming.
Yeah, no, and there's this really funny sort of clip of this one team that barely made it to the play. It's called the play-in, so it's their equivalent of the wild card round, and they are celebrating they've just won the whole entire championship, and this guy's standing on the table and throwing his jersey into the crowd, and it was really funny because it's it gives smaller market teams an ability to have a win.
Yeah,
and you know what? Sort of win. And I think that's great. Especially for teams like us, it gives a,
and we have the ability to finish 10th. We can absolutely finish 10th.
Exactly,
100%. We would go on to then lose the final by 400 points, but that we can still finish 10th.
Exactly. Though my friends in our AFL group chat today did say that it doesn't count, and I went, that's bullshit, because finals is now just becoming a 10-team thing. It's not it's becoming a 10-team. It's not 8 anymore, so it does count as a finals win if we win a wild card round.
The rules just change. Do you? I've just had someone message me and say yes, but apparently there's more than 18 teams in the NBA.
Oh yeah. There's So there's 30 teams, but it's split. So there's 15 in each. Like it's like split into two conferences. Like all the team on the western side of the country, and then all the team on the eastern side of the country. Yeah. So there's 15 teams there, and 8 of them make it to like the playoffs. But now with the play in, which is the equivalent to the wildcard round, that gives 10 teams the opportunity to play, because
out of the 30 or out of the 15?
Out of the 15. So there's 2 wildcard rounds going on at the same time, pretty much.
Oh, so it is out of 15. So it's actually ingenuine to say, well, it's a 30-team competition then.
It's a 15-team competition.
Yeah. Okay, well, I'll reply back to that message later.
Yeah, no, it's 15 on each side. So it's actually, only 5 teams miss out.
Okay, Shano, what is this? What is this? Play-in doesn't count as playoffs because none of the series are best of 7.
Yeah,
do you know what that means?
So
I don't know.
It's different. So like the play-in, which is the equivalent to the wildcard round, is like how it is in the AFL, where it's just one game, whoever wins goes through. But the NBA playoffs, once it gets to those 8 teams, and then it's 1 versus 8, 2 versus 7, 5 versus 3. Maths being tested here. No, 5.
Hey, well, you've got an exam tomorrow, so
I've had a lot of studying. Right? I've got 5 versus 4. Anyway,
you know who we were saying. Sorry, continue, Charlie.
No, I was done. They play in a 7-game series. So
I was just saying, you know who will be laughing in this situation? Whoever finishes 6th, because they're going to be getting teams who are thrashing out for a spot, didn't get the pre-finals bye, and there was another reason. Anyway, whoever finishes 5th and 6th, they're laughing. They're basically getting a top 4 finish.
Yeah, but it's just like, I hate the point of the season where there is just dead rubber games, and it's the worst. Yeah. I like the worst thing is dead rubber games that mean nothing, and it just adds, because then it gives the teams that are sort of sitting 8th, they want to get 5th or 6th if top 4's not available, but then it also gives teams that are like 12th, they're then fighting for 10th, you know?
Yeah, I agree. I think it obviously, just by virtue of the equation, dilutes the dead rubber games, and it erases the dead rubber games, because all of a sudden there's an extra 2 places to play for. So I think that can only be a really good thing, to be quite honest.
And a great point I just saw from Jano there, that tanking sucks. Like, no one likes watching tanking, and that will then help eliminate that. Like, that's a great point, because like no one likes
11. Oh yeah, I haven't even thought that. By extension, 11th now have something to fight for.
They're then going for 10th. Like us this year, we like, well, maybe not this year, but in a different year, like 2022, for example, we could have definitely been fighting for 10th when we ended up finishing, like, what did we finish in 2022? Like towards the bottom 4, like it was like 15th or something, but we could have been fighting for 10th. And like, I think it gives more teams more to play for sure.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, look, there is an argument to say, well, that just means teams who are locked into the top 6 earlier, they're just going to rest half their team. So there is the chance that then causes another issue. So you have less tanking of the shitter teams, but less quality actually being put out on the park of the better teams. So
not necessarily, because the quality players, like, they're going to be wanting as many Brownlow votes or as many, however, whatever, as they're going to get. So they're going to be playing as many games as they can, like all Australia. Like, they want more games to be seen by all Australian selectors. So like the quality of the league is probably still going to be playing all the time for things like Brownlow votes, or if it's a forward, they'll be going for goals on their end of the year tallies, because they probably get more on their contracts the more goals they kick.
True. I think the next thing that'll come in, AFL will bring in another limit or dilution of rest what actually counts as resting a player. I reckon there'll be a limit or something that'll come in next, because I think that's going to happen more and more. And players will opt to just have a rest rather than and not risk missing finals, or grand finals. So I mean, Clinton, are you a traditionalist? You obviously watch footy. I'm not going to pretend like I know your age, so I won't say the 80s, 90s, and 70s or the 70s and beyond. Are you a traditionalist?
Clinton, he's 70 years old.
He's not.
He just turned 70 the other day.
He did not.
Hilarious.
You did not. That's not a 70-year-old man. You stop. You wash your mouth out. So how do you feel about? Are you more traditionalist?
I'm happy to give it a go. Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
There's no harm in trying new things. So it's definitely worth a try on that.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe they could have tried it maybe in the women's league or something to start with. But
No, I think that's a fair point. That's
because that's where they've been trialing other things.
Yeah.
The out of bounds.
Yep.
Must kick out.
Or in the
bounds
VFL, even the VFL. Why not try it in the VFL?
I think that's a fair point.
as well. So,
I mean, let's be honest. They can't even manage a VFL competition as it is. How they're going to trial like this kind of thing? But yeah, that's what makes fans suspicious about making it just a money grab, because
And
they
it's
just
starting in the AFL.
Yeah.
Like, it's like it hasn't been seen before in other leagues, so it's a bit.
Yeah, exactly. Completely agree.
I actually, just quickly, I had this idea that I really wanted. I've talked to Clinton about this, and I wanted to pose it to you and to everyone here, that because I was working at Icon Park and the AFLW on the weekend, and I've had this like sudden idea in my brain that I just can't get out of my head. So, and it's for the traditionalists, but it adds a new element to the game as well. So it's a new round. So actually, I'll start with the survey data that I did for this idea, because I was really getting into it. I've got
our friend Pom would be so proud of you getting into the data.
I asked 3 questions to 100 people at the AFLW final, like across the 2 days. And I said, during gather round, which of the venues that they play at do you enjoy watching games the most? And that's either live, or if they've been to gather round, or on the TV. 5% of people said Barossa Park, 27% of people said Adelaide Oval, and 68% of people said Norwood Oval. I then asked, for AFLW, would you prefer to watch games at the team's original home ground or grounds such as Marvel Stadium? 84 people said the team's home ground, as 16 said Marvel Stadium. And then I asked one question. This was just to the Carlton fans, so I got 30 of them. I said, would you come to watch a one-off game of Carlton playing here at Icon Park? 93% of people said yes. 7% of people said no. So, after that idea, my idea that I have is a round called Heritage Round.
proper heritage round.
You do proper Heritage Round. Every team does a retro jersey on marketing. The AFL gets a portion of that for their money. And what comes with that is that you have 9 like Melburnian teams, and it becomes the Victorian version of Gather Round, where every single team plays at their original home ground for round. And so you would play all the games that usually don't get that many attendances anyway. So like if it is being played at Marvel, you're realistically only getting like 20K there anyway. But I just I can't get this like idea out of my brain, because all the fans there at Icon Park were saying how much they love watching Carlton finals football at Icon Park, because it means something to the fans. And I think that like this idea that I've got, and I don't know, I just thought it's one of those things that, because obviously the AFL would need to renovate the stadiums and upkeep them a bit so that they're in better nick. But I think that's a good thing for the game anyway, because then you're getting those stadiums ready for AFLW for when that, as it should, the AFL should be planning for the AFLW to grow and be able to actually hold like 20,000 people in an AFLW game, you know?
This is a brilliant concept. I love it.
Yeah,
I mean,
anyway,
but did they heritage ran from 2003 to 2005? But did they actually play?
No,
or was that just they just wore the jerseys with the collars and as Craig says the 80s jumpers? Did they just wear the jumpers and call it heritage round? Because my gosh, the one thing I can't get over is, and Felix has said about Norwood. Shano said about Windy Hill, like the love, the vibes, the energy that these places hold.
That's what I was just thinking. Imagine a round of football in Melbourne where you could just go
Park.
all
and
of those
Arden
games.
Street.
Yeah,
At Arden Street, Kanga fans love it there.
I did when I was like really bored and probably should have been studying. I actually made I made the fixture for it.
Oh my God, he's made a fixture. He's made a fixture. We love this.
I've also taken the games that have got the lowest attendances for that team, so it's not like the AFL is missing out on ticket sales. Oh
my God, you need to copyright. Why don't we copyright this shit just in case somebody steals your fixture? The AFL wouldn't surprise me.
So Collingwood Freo, Victoria Park, 7:30 Thursday night.
He's done the dates.
Yeah.
He should be studying.
So then, shush, please, everyone.
No, don't shush your mum. We're not shushing of Sophie. Banter, thank you.
No shushing mothers on Banter. This is Poppy, my sister Poppy.
Hello, Poppy.
My sister Poppy.
Yeah, I've got to meet the entire family. I've met the dog. I need to meet the. Hello, Poppy.
Hi.
Are you're younger?
No.
Everyone says that.
I'm nearly 3 years older.
Oh, well, you have a very kind young face, so that's wonderful.
Thank you.
Good. What's your skin? Lovely, great skincare regime.
Right after our last ever finals win.
She's February 2005.
Stop.
Ever since she was born, we haven't won a final.
Oh, okay.
We're all a bit sleepy today. I just got back from overseas today.
It's not.
Did you really? Where'd you go?
Yes, okay.
All right, let's move on. Let's move on because we've got what's happening.
Yeah.
Yep. Continue
Yeah,
the
exactly.
picture and then we'll go out.
So then you have the big AFL money game, which is the MCG original heritage game where you have the two oldest teams, Melbourne versus Geelong, MCG Friday night. That's where you get
love the nostalgia there. Love it. Yep.
That's where you get your money from. Then Saturday, 12:35, Whitten Oval, Bulldogs versus the Eagles. Then at Saturday at 1:30, you have Hawthorn versus GWS at where I don't know because Glenferrie Oval's in shambles at the moment. Waverley Park's just been destroyed. This would be like a 10-year plan, by the way. But like Glenferrie Oval, they've torn down both Waverley Park and Glenferrie Oval for like local community stuff. So I don't know where Hawthorn would play it. But anyway.
Work it out tomorrow night.
Who cares about the Hawks anyway?
Exactly. Who cares about the Hawks? Then at 4:30 p.m. you have Richmond versus Gold Coast at Punt Road. And then Saturday night, because prime time, you have it at the biggest local stadium where you have Carlton versus Port Adelaide at 7:40 p.m. at Icon Park. Then Sunday, you have North Melbourne versus Brisbane at Arden Street. And then the Sunday primetime game, you have the Bombers versus the Crows at Windy Hill at 3:20. And then to end the Sunday, you have St Kilda versus Sydney at Junction Oval at 4:45. And that's the round.
When's Essendon playing? When's Essendon
We're
playing?
playing in the prime time the prime time of Sunday of 3:20 versus the Crows at Windy Hill.
St Kilda's not jumping.
There is an issue here that three stumps. How are you? There's a problem. There's no night. Can't be any night games because there's no lights back then. So we need to.
The grounds will need redeveloping for this, but but I think what I was saying is that I think that they should be getting redeveloped if the AFL is serious about growing the AFLW. Anyway, if it's not serious about growing the AFLW, then
hey Charlie,
Yeah.
you're turning people's heads. This is what I wanted. I wanted to be turned because all I've seen,
Yeah.
all the inference I've seen has been negative. So I wanted to. Hey, yeah, wouldn't this be great if this was the
it would
wild
be
card
great
question? And
if it was. It would be
Oh my
great if it
God,
was on the exam.
imagine.
However,
Imagine.
I am already into my uni course where I'm doing media in sport. So, you know, what's
So your first project will be
Exactly.
to create a portfolio
Heritage
about this
round,
idea.
one-off
and take it to
round.
headquarters.
Yeah, exactly. It's a one-off round because that obviously you don't want to do this more than once a year because it would lose a lot of money. But it gives the fans a nice, like, one-off round. And I was thinking as well, you then have the AFLW as a curtain raiser for all those games as well. So it would be at that point where the AFL and AFLW overlap because then it brings back when you would have gone to games and you have the Rezzies as a curtain raiser, but you can't really have Rezzies as a curtain raiser because of all the different state competitions. But yeah,
I love it, Charlie.
Yeah.
I love the sport. I love the
Yeah.
effort when you should be studying. I'm just absolutely, I'm here for all of it.
Encouraging.
Sorry, Sophie, I just dig it. I'm sorry, I do, but you know what? I think your boy knows what he wants to do with his future. So I think you put all your
Big
energy and intent towards that, and your brain
Yeah.
will catch up, your body catches up, and
Yeah.
absolutely. See, Bomber Boy's already crowned you the next Cal Toomey.
Oh,
But
thank you.
Hey, excuse you, if he's the next Cal Toomey, he was founded on Bomber Banter, so I am taking complete and utter credit. No, I'm just kidding.
Fair enough.
All right. Good luck for your exam and for the rest of your exams.
Wait.
ACDC this Sunday night.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, concert! You're off to the concert, ACDC. Well,
Mhm.
enjoy that, Clinton.
Yeah.
And we'll talk to you soon. All right.
Awesome. All right. See ya. Bye.
That's over. Bye. All right. Oh, Craig, you said you're going to be at the concert too. Well, that's wonderful. Fantastic. All right. Few things. I'm going to get there's so much happening, so much going on. People coming on soon. I've got an exclusive to tell you. I can't believe none of you have prompted me about that. So maybe I just shouldn't tell you about it. How's that? All right. Let's move on to the non-exclusive news yet. And we'll just leave someone who's going to chat to me about it just sitting there for a little bit longer. In the meantime, let's say hi to Craig.
Hello.
I just clicked you. How are you, Craig?
I'm good. How are you?
I am very well. What's happening?
How good is Charlie? He is great, and his family are.
Isn't it great? And
Yes.
I think this is just the beginning. I think we all here at Bomber Banter who are witnessing Charlie from his first debut here, we're seeing the evolution of Charlie. And I think, Bomber Boy, you said it really well. I think he is going to be the next Cal Toomey or something like that. And he started here. So how cool is that?
That is great. Although I do have to disagree with Charlie a little bit about the wild card round. I might be a fan of it come the end of next season if we're a chance. But my only concern is what happens if the team that's 9th and 10th are 2 games outside the 8? Do they deserve the chance even though they didn't get there on merit?
So
That
what would
could
you
happen.
feel comfortable with? Just if it was percentage, perhaps?
Yeah, maybe, because also too, let's say, for instance, the Western Bulldogs are 0.4% outside of finishing the top 6.
Yeah.
Just 0.4%. And
Yep.
they have to play an extra game while, say, GWS gets the week off.
Yeah. That's a great point. That's a really good point. Yep.
And I haven't liked how the AFL has tried to sell it so far. Dylan's done a poor job at trying to sell it.
How's he tried to sell it? I haven't seen much of what. I just assume
he tried to. Well, basically, I think Mitch Cleary or someone asked him a question today. If Essendon were to, finish 10th and they win, would that mean they won a final? And he's like, yeah. They would want to finish higher than 10th, but they'll win a final. Yeah, they're trying to sell it to us.
Eh?
Yeah, I know. It's just ridiculous.
I mean, you think that he would have really prepared very well. I mean, this is not an idea that's come about in
No.
a light box. They've obviously had it in the works for a long time.
Well, they've had Eddie McGuire's been pushing it for years, so they've
Has he
probably
really?
had it. Yeah, he's been selling it for years on his classified show, but yeah, they've known about it for a while. They've been planning it for ages.
Well, here you go. This is the exact scenario that you're talking about, Craig.
Yeah,
The Swans this year were 3 games outside the 8 with a percentage of 97. They would have played the wild card round. Like it's bonkers to think that they could end up playing in a prelim final. Like that's just, I mean, but then doesn't that make you feel more endeared to those teams? Like that would make me feel like, fuck yeah, Sydney. I mean, again,
not to Sydney. No. It's
No.
Sydney, come
So,
on.
like, it could be anyone. It could not, like, forget that it's Sydney. It could be absolutely anyone. But that makes me think, like, like if that was Essendon, who finished 3 games outside the 8 and then went on to play a prelim, in my head, I'm thinking, yeah, fuck, we smashed this. I don't know, you know?
Yeah, that's true. And then, as someone said to me today, they're like, but it's incumbent upon the person on the team inside the 8 to win their game. And if they don't win their game and they get beaten by the team outside the 8, that's more for them. And good luck to the team outside the 8 getting that extra chance. So it kind of swings and roundabouts with it all, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, as Shano said earlier, just like with everything, there's positive and negative. So I think my attitude moving forward now is I'm not going to judge it until I experience it. But if it turns out to be a big old flop, I'll be judging big time. Big time. So
if the AFL will get their money from Channel 7 and Fox, they'll be happy with that. So that's a good start.
Look, the way I thought, my initial gut instinct was, does this give me more football to consume? Because then I'm happy. Because the more football, the more I can watch, the more I know it's in turn making them money and AFL more dollars. But I love the game. I love the sport. I love everything about it. I consume so much of it. So if that gives me more to consume, well, great.
If I'm being honest too, I think they could do a better job with the AFLW around that bye weekend.
Yes.
They do play like the way they promote the game. Yeah, it's like I asked a question of Dave Barham last year, and when he was at Channel 10, he put to the AFL that Channel 10 will have sole broadcasting rights, and they'll promote the hell out of it. And the AFL said no, and they've done nothing to promote the AFLW like they do the AFL. And Dave was pretty strong in his opinion that the AFL has really stuffed it up, and they could do something with the pre-finals bye with the AFLW. Maybe, start the AFLW within the season and do curtain raises every now and then maybe the pre-finals bye could be the grand final for the AFLW.
Yep, agree. I think it would certainly be more motivating for people to actually consume AFLW.
Yeah, because a lot of Essendon supporters, they say, I'm not going to support the AFLW team. I'm not going to buy a membership. It might actually encourage them to be actively supportive and buy memberships, and it's. But yeah,
no, I agree with some of your thoughts, Craig. I guess we wait and see, right? And if Essendon finish 9th or 10th, then hey, I think we're all going to be happy campers. Thank you so much for coming on.
I've got a question for you quickly. Al Hawley, how did he look? Today?
Yeah, he was the one I shouted out, one of the 3 underdogs that I shouted out from training today. He was running really well. He clearly has worked on that, and he came 4th in the time trial, and he ran a PB too. So I think he looked good, and his skills were pretty sound too. So in the drills,
because if he can run really well and get his endurance and fitness up, I reckon that's going to be really big for him next year. So
and a little bit more time in the classroom, running to the right places in the right moments, and I think you could have something. Yeah.
All right, perfect.
Thank you so much, Craig. Good to see you, and I'll see you much more throughout the year. See ya.
You will. All right, cheers.
Bye. All right, let's have a quick chat to Muzz, and then we'll get into the exclusive. How are you, Muzz?
I'm great. How are we all?
I'm well. What's happening with you? What do you want to chat about?
Not much. No, I'm just on here for a general conversation. I haven't been really paying attention to the AFL media or anything too much. I'm trying to keep my mind off it. This time of year, I like to take a break from all the sport, relax, go into the summer and have a chill. So I haven't been really up to date with it. I've been watching everything Essendon, so he's been keeping up with it, all up to the date with everything. I do pay attention to his channel.
Our friend Felix, yes.
Felix, I've been watching him. I've been paying attention to his new draft view. He's mocked a draft to see where Essendon will line up for everything. So I've been getting to that too. So yeah, I'm staying off the media, but I'm also really paying attention.
Yeah, well, if anywhere, if you just need one, if you're confused by everything and you just want a very clear, concise place to go where with an Essendon flair, of course, then Felix and everything Essendon is the
go
place.
straight to Felix. Felix has me covered on it.
Absolutely.
Now, Zack Merritt, he was reported today to be up in Queensland at a wedding. So he still has 2 weeks. The senior players still have basically 2 weeks. They were hoping to get everyone back. Technically, they still have 2 weeks on their break. So they technically don't have to be back in front of the 2 weeks. They were hoping everyone would come back earlier to train with all the young boys to get everyone adjusted together, but it didn't end up happening. Merritt was away on the wedding. I don't know what Parish, Gresham, or anyone else was. But it was reported on Channel 7 that he was out at a wedding in Queensland. So he's nowhere to be seen here in Victoria.
Yep.
So that's where Merritt is, if anyone's asking. I found that out tonight when I was sitting down listening to all the news about sport.
And how does that make you feel? How do you feel about that?
Well, Zach Reid said that they've let it all go and he's going to be welcomed back with open arms. So I don't know how I'm going to feel about it, to be honest. Right, the football club's let it go. They've let it go and that he's going to come back and everything will be fine.
Well, we have no other choice, basically.
We've got no other choice. But everyone's getting hyped all about this. People looking good. Great players come back in great shape. But will this carry on until next season to where Merritt's playing with the squad? Because we've had iffy tiffs in the past with our preseason, and it's going to show next year that it doesn't work out really well because none of our players are connected.
Yeah. Personally, I still feel a big ick about the whole thing, but that's me. Time will tell. I don't subscribe to the whole time heals everything because I think time turns down the temperature on things, but putting in the work to mend bridges and repair relationships, that's what heals, not time by itself. So I'm just hoping that the work is happening behind closed doors to actually make headways in that space.
Yeah, this is where you're trusting out in a new development team and everything else that's coming to make sure everyone's on track and keeping up.
The psychologist, to be honest.
Yeah. I've got a quick question before I head off because I'm going to head off now. I'm not going to stay around. I'm away actually. I'm in a new background if no one's noticed.
Yeah, somebody did say it's an interesting camera angle and that you look taller.
I am away. I'm at my grandparents' house currently. So I'm away.
Lovely.
I'm forgotten away. I'm staying up here for basically nearly on a week. So I've gotten away. I'm breathing, living my own life.
Lovely.
My own thing. But yeah.
Wonderful. Lovely.
I've got a question. No, I've got 2 questions about 2 individuals, Essendon players. How did Blackerson look?
He looked sound. That's the word that comes to mind. He looked sound. He looked confident in himself, in his body. He looks like if Brad Scott went up to him and said, look, mate, Vigo is still developing. Brian's not ready. Is it all our rocks? That's all our rocks. We've got no more rocks. That's it, yeah? Yeah. You just got to be the numero uno. You just got to wear the Giants. You're going to come up as Giants and you need to you just need to do it. He just looked like he'd be like, yeah, all right, no worries, bro. I got you. Trust me. I'll be all right. That's what he looked like. Sound.
Very good. Another one who we didn't really see at all last season, well, especially we probably saw him for 4 or 5 games, Ben Mackay.
He looked good. He looked really good.
His ankle
looks like he slimmed down a little bit personally, but he looked fit, strong, healthy in mind and body.
Was he running the 2K or no?
No. So only
No, he
the
wasn't.
only one who did the 2K was the 1 to 3s or 1 to 4s technically.
Okay.
So Langers didn't do it. Rids didn't do it. Mackay didn't do it. Does and Guelphy didn't do it. All of those, yeah.
So all the same.
Because only not for any other reason other than just loads. They weren't needed to be back today, so they didn't need to participate in that 2K. Yeah.
Very, very, very good.
Good question, though.
Well,
Good question, Buzz. All right.
I'm
Enjoy the rest.
So I'm asking questions. I'm going to find out a whole bunch of questions. I'll be probably talking to Felix. Try and find something out. I don't know.
Keep watching the
Talking
stream.
to
I'm sure we'll have answers to all your questions. All right, Muzz.
All right,
take it easy. Chat to you soon.
You too.
Bye.
See you later.
Bye. All righty. Let's have a bit of a chat about a new role to a potential young midfielder. I will put it to you. 2 things. Who do you think the young midfielder is, and what role do you think we actually need that we've probably been looking for, that other teams, it's a role that a lot of the top 8 teams have a player who plays this role in different dimensions. There is one team that has a very, very good player who does this role exceptionally well. This is a player for us who a lot of people would think is in no man's land at the moment. This is a player who definitely has developed a bit of a complex about a certain part of his game, because anytime he makes a mistake, he gets thrashed on by media and fans. All right, you've nailed it, TL73. Well done. So a little bit of insight. Obviously, we don't really have a player. That's another good guess, Jeremy, actually. Also, thank you so much. I did see you. I'm so sorry. Thank you so much. I love you. Thank you, Jeremy. Really appreciate you being here, as always. Adam, thank you. You know I appreciate that. You saw him doing a lot of work on his kicking. Yes, but this is the thing, right? There's too much emphasis at the moment on him having to do work on his kicking and focusing on the negative and inverted commas that is his kicking. So partner that with the fact that we don't have a player capable. This year we just actually delisted a player who has done a few run with roles for us in Setterfield. He obviously was very good at the run with aspect of the role and very disciplined, was that bigger body that got in between Merritt and Parrish and opponents. However, he probably didn't have that offensive nous that players who are exceptional at this role do. They have the ability to switch into that offensive nature. They have the ability to go where the team needs it. That selfless, high work rate mid who thrives on, that repeat effort. You go again and you go where the team needs it. So I personally think Setterfield did an exceptional job at that, but it is, I guess we can call it an exclusive, but a little bit of information that the club have actually challenged Elijah Tsatas to basically, and I say this, to basically become an antelope. So to become one of the most high endurance players in the competition. So the antelope, I don't know if you know this, but they can run at high speed without breaking stride for kilometres, not because they're the fastest, but because they can outlast everyone. So instead of giving Tsatas a focus on fixing your kicking mindset, they have switched him into focus on your engine, develop your engine. They've asked him to take his running capacity and his endurance to an elite level so he can become a run with player with an offensive, a player who can run with but also hurt you offensively. So they have challenged him to do it. Now, I know there may be some people eye-rolling, questioning whether he could do that, but at 180 centimeters, he has the build, he has the height, he has the body. I feel like this could be such a good challenge from him psychologically, and I love it from a psychological point of view because it takes the spotlight off his kicking. And as I said earlier, he's probably developed a real mental complex around his kicking now, because every time he does make a mistake, the fans, the media are on it. They're comparing him to what he should be and what he's not. And by shifting his focus to endurance and an effort-based role, he can build confidence that way, because this is something he can control. And then the rest of it comes later. The kicking, the skill will come naturally. So, yeah, there's a little bit of inside information about something that we've done for him. I just think this could be so fantastic for him. Who knows if he can, even if he doesn't become that player who can excel in this specific role, at least he gives him a different focus for now. I think naturally, his kicking will improve, and I am all for it. I really, really think, rather than focusing on flash and polish and flair, focus on your power, focus on your endurance, get your mind and your body on that same page where it's effort based. You go where the team needs you, and I think it could be really good. So I don't know what you all think about that. High-speed player, he could be a Bailey Smith type. Yeah, I'm more thinking like Jai Newcomb, Rory, Tom Atkins, Josh Dunkley, these kinds of players who are just so disciplined defensively, but offensively have that nous as well. Caldwell's another great shout. He can play this role, but I think we really want to get him back to being that in and under extractor with Durham, and then, bursting from stoppage, that kind of player. Shano, agreed. This is how I see it. A run with roll will make him a better player. Learning from the best of the opposition, yeah. I just think it focuses his mind on a task that's an effort-based task, and then you can't have arguments with your ego, because your ego right now, his ego is presenting him with evidence of his bad kicking, and so then his body says, I can't kick, but your ego can't argue with you when you're putting in 100% effort. So I love it. Let's talk to someone. Let's ask someone else who knows a lot about this kid, and let's see what he thinks. Scott, how are you, my friend? You on mute? Oh, this has happened before, Scott. It's saying that to you. Oh, okay. All right, let's go through some of your other opinions. Frank, you nailed it. This is an extension of that. It is not a coincidence that Tsatas ran a 10-second PB today on his time trial. Wonderful. This just shows that he's locked into the role and he's already making inroads on the role. And I know for a fact that he is loving having something to focus on. He is loving having the challenge. Again, psychologically, I think this is going to be chef's kiss for him. And I hope for him and for us, because I think it's a perfect fit, I hope it comes to fruition, and I hope he takes it and runs and does really well with it. The prod, yep, Tsatas has a very real chance to make it big. Yes, I think he can. I really do think he can. What else? Who else likes it? Who else doesn't like it? Craig, you've always seen him as a Dangerfield type and someone who can play a Bailey Smith type role. Yeah. James, you think it's an odd choice? That's interesting. Dennis, more endurance equals more reliable disposal. Yeah. It gives you one less thing to think about. if you are 100% confident in your durability and your endurance, and you know you're going to run out games well, the football skills come naturally because they're born footballers. They're born with this ability, with these gifts. All right, while we wait for Scott, let's chat to another absolute legend of Bomberland. Hello, Felix.
Hello, how are you?
No one's ready for me tonight.
Is my mic working at least?
Your mic is beautiful. Can hear you loud and clear. What's happening with you? I am well. Nice, it was lovely to be back amongst football energy today. How are you? You got down to the footy up in Adelaide to the women's game on the weekend. I saw. How was it?
On the weekend, I took my niece to her first AFLW game. She liked it. We were wearing Adelaide colours, unfortunately. Apologies, but
okay. Well, if you can't be in Essendon colours, then pick a team and wear their colours. How's the weather?
Yeah, it's good here. It's good here. Is it crappy in Melbourne as always? No offense.
Yeah, it's crappy. I mean, I thought I wouldn't have to I had my woolly Eskimo coat at training today. I thought I'd be in a t-shirt. No. Yeah. You just continue to get the love, Felix. I mean, everything this man touched just turns to gold. We know that. I don't know. You all will have noticed that you're now seeing the lovely face along with his lovely G'day Felix fan voice to his videos. Was Bomber Banter the first time when you came on my show here that you actually connected everything Essendon with your face?
I was on Absolutely Essendon a bit before. I think I was on their show a couple of times, but probably it was pretty early on. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm just going to take credit for that. No, I'm
Take the credit. Take the credit.
I'm just going to say that I just sprinkled my little magic little bit of fairy dust energy on you to give you that confidence to know that you absolutely should show your face because it's a lovely face and it helps us all connect with you even more. So
thank you. Thank you.
Let's talk about what you do best, the draft. How's it looking? How's it feeling? Are you feeling any certainties the closer we get to the draft? Are there any locks that you think are going to be happening?
No, in my head, and I could be way off here, but I think there's a few players that we're going to be looking at. I've narrowed it down to 3 in my head, but I could be way off with this. But I think there's a solid little group that we're going to be choosing from.
All right, hit me.
Well, I think there's going to be a few players off the board. Sorry?
Hit me with the 3 that you said.
Yeah, I think depending on what other teams do ahead of us, I think it's going to be Xavier Taylor, Dyson Sharp, and Sam Cumming kind of on the board, depending on what we do, like if we do any trading as well. But I think those 3 are the ones that we're going to be, right in our range.
And say there's a lot of love, obviously, and a bit of dissection, but mostly love from Essendon fans on Roby. Who takes him before us? And if he slips to us, do we take him?
Yeah, I think we take him. And part of me not including him in there is because I'm hoping that, like, I don't want to jinx it and say that we're going to be, in the conversation. It's like I'm putting it out there, like putting it away from my mind just so if it happens, it's a nice, pleasant surprise. I think the Tigers surely take him before us, though.
So they've got 2 picks too, don't they, before us too?
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah.
Okay, so they're probably is it safe to say that they probably take Roby and Sam Grill?
I think so. Sam Grill's a weird one because I don't think I think if any other club had those picks, they'd probably be looking at other players, but Richmond do like Sam Grill.
Oh, really? And why is that? Do you think there's just more dimensional players available than Sam?
I think there are, but I think it's a draft where teams can, especially teams like Richmond who drafted so heavily and so well last year, they can kind of go for a needs basis earlier. So even though they could go for someone like a Xavier Taylor, who I think has more talent than Sam Grill, and I think most clubs would think the same, they've got a player like that last year with Luke Traynor. They probably do need a bit more speed out of the back half. So I think it makes sense to just, like, if you like a player in the draft, just pick him. And I think that's what Richmond could do.
Yeah, okay. I don't know. I know you're a huge Roby fan. I'm a huge Roby fan, but I just think I don't know that we get the best out of him. where we sit in context with where we are as a footy club.
Yeah, I think you got to try though. You got to give it a go.
Yeah, and the temptation is there, and I love him so much. I don't know. I think maybe 2 years down the track, I just think the timing is wrong for us and Roby. That's all.
Fair enough. It is a risky one too, because he's like, we're judging him based on 2 or 3 months of footy.
Yeah, exactly. And I've said it before, but I think what we're trying to embed as a football club and what we're trying to become is consistent, stable, reliable. And I think there are other kids in the draft who, completely wholeheartedly embody those values. I'm not saying that Roby doesn't.
I'm guessing you like Dyson Sharp then?
Yeah, absolutely love Dyson Sharp. I think he's a no-brainer for us. I think he's as sound as they come. He mirrors the model in which we're trying to emulate. And I think right now in our evolution, where we are as a club with very, thin foundations, nicely laid, but still thin foundations laid by Andrew Welsh. And we're trying to build strongly upon that. I think the kids have to mirror that energy. And Roby's an enigma. He's a bombshell. Yeah. And I don't know that our foundations can handle a bombshell right now. And I don't know, maybe you can convince me otherwise, actually. This is a good debate. I don't know that he can come in and be surrounded by potentially players who are not superstars, who are not or are not necessarily excelling around him. How does he go? So when he was coming into his own and flourishing in those teams, was he in really successful teams? Were the players around him? Were there a lot of elite players around him, or was he excelling on his own platform?
Eastern Rangers, the Talent League team had quite a bit of talent in it, so that's. But I thought he set himself apart in that side. But the one that interests me, and I spoke to his club coach for the Roeville Hawks, Ben Wise. I don't know how they did as a team. Actually, I probably should have checked up on that. But he spoke so glowingly about Roby and the way that he was almost. I think he said that he was almost embarrassed to be getting this attention. And he was like, even after the attention came, he was still, and after he actually left the Hawks to be playing for the Eastern Rangers, he was still turning up to games. Oh, I'm guessing they did do well because he went to a preliminary final, I think, for the Roeville Hawks seniors and turned up. This was after, I think the day after he had that massive game in the Talent League where he had like 40 odd or 30 odd and 3 or 4 goals. And he turned up and was really humble. I think everyone around was joking, kind of getting into him about the attention he was getting, and his coach said that Roby was a bit almost embarrassed by it, which I think obviously that's going to be the case with someone that's kind of come into the spotlight so quickly. But I don't know, I don't get the notion of arrogance or anything about him. I think he's got a good understanding of where he is and what is required to get to the level, and I don't think there'd be any. If he joined the club, I wouldn't be worried at all about the mental side of his game. I think he's going to be working really hard to improve, and someone who's bolted that much and is still growing and improving is only going to improve more in an AFL system, the way I see it. Because, you're looking at someone who hasn't even had a full preseason with a talent league team in a professional system in a long time. He's kind of just thrown into a professional setup with the Eastern Rangers and excels there. Even at the combine, and I remember this because I've done combine testing as well. You don't really, so much training and work goes into the specific testing in the combine and how to get the most out of the testing. He kind of just turned up and had to wing it a bit. So everything is still so new to him in the AFL landscape. I only see heaps of improvement, even if he does join a system like Essendon, which is probably not ideal. I see him being a pretty epic player to have.
Yeah. I mean, I don't disagree with any of that. And maybe my opinion is ultra cautious because I just think our development. Are you confident in our development enough to be able to nurture him?
Nope.
A talent like him?
No, probably not. But I think you got to risk it. I've liked what I've seen from the last few draft hauls. Obviously, it's still early, and you we had that a bit in 2021 with Nick Cox and Archie Perkins, that excitement, and then it kind of faded away in that 3rd to 4th year. So there's every chance that's still the same. But I think the list management team, what they're trying to do is just give the the development and the coaches the best assets and players available. And I think if I'd back in Matt Rosa to be doing that. You know, I think he should be trusting what the development can do and trying to get the best out of these players. Yeah, I do like Dyson Sharp. I like a bit of, you know, and you could even get a little combo with the two, even though they're pretty similar players in a few ways. Because Dyson Sharp is definitely a bankable player. Like, you know what you're going to get from him.
Yeah. When I watch him, I've watched him in the sense I get from him is he doesn't need chaos to thrive. He's such a system-based, focused player, and I really like that, and that's why he's such a good leader as well, because he can compartmentalize. He sees and feels the space around him, and he's got the ability to be in the moment. I love what he brings energetically to the club, and I love what he would bring to the young group, and I'm thinking even further ahead in terms of leadership and the next leadership group after Roberts and all of those, that clan, and I just think he's a no-brainer for mine. But so you don't think like Sharp and Roby, like that could cohesively be a good two punt pick?
Yes, if Roby does slide, it would probably mean that Xavier Taylor's gone anyway, or a player like that. Like I've talked a lot about the four horsemen of the draft apocalypse, which are the four players that I think Essendon would if they're available, you just take them, and that's Willem Dersma, Cooper Duff-Tytler, Sullivan Roby, and Xavier Taylor. Those four, I think there is just I see so much more upside with those four than the rest of the group. And if we have an opportunity to pick any of them, I think we just do it because of the upside alone.
It's interesting that you put Xavier Taylor in that group. That is a huge accolade for Xavier Taylor, because those three I wholeheartedly agree. Dersma, CDT, and Roby, they're unicorn energy. Like they got their unicorn magical kind of aura energy. Xavier Taylor, for me, I am still on the unsure fence about. Convince me.
Fair enough.
Help me pull him over the line. Go.
Yeah, I think as a pure footballer, you've got. You always look at draft prospects as either leaning towards being an athlete or leaning towards being a footballer. Xavier Taylor is just a perfect blend of both. He athletically, he is just better than most in this draft. He's got insane speed and endurance, but I always like footy smarts, and this is why I like Harley Barker a lot as well. I really like intelligent footballers who also possess athletic capabilities, and Xavier Taylor is his intelligence and his leadership is slept on a bit. He's commanding the back line always whenever he's in it. He's from those who go to Talent League games, he is the most vocal out there. He's the general of the back line, so he is doing everything he can to not only put himself in the right positions, but those around him. I think the one thing probably missing from his game a bit is his elite ball use. He's more of an athletic rebound defender, so he's going to get the ball and run with it rather than use his foot skills. But that's something, I look at that, and that's something that if I'm looking at a draft prospect for the future, a bit of a high upside project player. That's something that you can really work on and get to work with, because everything else in his game is so perfectly molded for the modern game. He's versatile in not only the positions he can play, but the roles in each position. I don't see him as just a defender. I think he could go midfield or wing. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Xavier Taylor, probably more so than others.
Interesting. Do we have a similar player currently at Essendon? So if he walked in the club and he's ready to go physically and mentally next year, do we have a similar player to him currently at the club?
Probably Jordan Ridley is probably the most similar, but I think they're still pretty different in a few ways. I think Jordan Ridley's obviously a better ball user, probably a bit taller, a bit better defensively. I think Xavier Taylor is going to be that third defender, not even a key defender, just kind of like I see Josh Weddle probably the most, just kind of a bit of an X factor player that you throw around the park, depending on the situation in the game. He's the type who, if you want something to spark up the ground, you put him on the wing so he can run. If you need a bit more stability in defense and a bit more, intercepting, you throw him down back. I see Xavier Taylor, like other players, Dyson Sharp, Sam Cumming, they're all, pretty specific players in specific positions. But Xavier Taylor, to me, if you draft him, you're not drafting him as a defender. You're drafting him as a footballer. And I think when you get players like that, that to me sets them apart from others.
Yeah, do you know what the devil's advocate will say is our previous list manager used to always draft kids who were defenders but could be midfielders and small forwards but who could be midfielders and wingers who could be backmen, and so that's why that makes me nervous. A little bit.
Fair enough. And you could even argue that with some of those Dodoro picks, not all of them, I think some of them were just duds, but some of them are just the result of poor development and poor management. Because I think we all looked at Nick Cox in 2021 and we were so excited about what was going to come. Obviously, his body hurt in that. Even Harry Jones early in 2021 as well. So again, that goes back to what you're saying with development, and should we draft players that we know easier to develop, because Xavier Taylor and Sullivan Roby are definitely probably in that harder to develop range just because of the type of players they are. But both of them have the attitude and hunger to really work on their game. I wouldn't.
And that's great, but you need both. You don't need, and that
you do. Yeah.
Only in context of where we are in this moment, in what frequency that Essendon is running at in this moment. Yeah. In 2 years, that's what I'm saying about timing. I don't know if timing in the stars and the moon for Essendon, for Xavier Taylor and Roby. And it's frustrating because we should be a club right now that can pick any of the 4 unicorns that you just mentioned. We should be at that point. But are we? That's
I think if it's there, you take it, and I think you just trust that the club is going to make the right decisions under Welsh to put the pieces in place to make those players good. You know, I think if you're taking players that you're passing on players because you don't think you can develop them, I think that's a bigger problem in my eyes.
Great point, and we got big issues if that's the case.
Yes,
and this should be working in the background as the draft's going on. You know, like. The development should be the ones working. I mean, I say this about the psychologist and Matt Innes. They all should be working overtime. But the development if we just can't get this right now, there is too much talent on this list, Felix, at the moment that we've got to not make this work. I was watching Kako today and Caddy, who is like this bulldog in a big body who wants to just take the competition by storm. Tomorrow, right now, not in 6 months, right this minute. And I think to myself, there's just no possible way that we can waste this. We have to get development right, and we have to nurture this talent so well and set the foundations for future nurturing and future development.
Yeah, completely agree.
All right, Felix. Well, before I let you go, let's get your opinion on the wild card.
I like it. I really like it. I've seen a lot of hate. I don't get the hate. I think you're just adding, 2 more high stakes games of footy, and also the high stakes games of footy that come in the rounds leading up to it, because you've got teams playing for extra spots in finals. I think it makes perfect sense. And I don't really care about, the notion of Essendon winning a final from it. I don't even care about the whole finals drought, to be honest. I'm not going to be any happier if we win an elimination final and get knocked out in the semi. I don't think that matters to me at all.
Yeah, I don't either. And in turn, I think it counts. Like all these people saying it doesn't count. I know a lot of it is just because it's a joke towards Essendon, but it absolutely counts. If it's a 10 top 10, then and we make finals, we make finals. Because beyond next year, are people going to be calling it a wild card? Isn't it just going to be a top 10?
Yeah, it is. It's just the top. It's the same. It's the top 10. Is it called a wild card officially? Have the AFL called it that?
I think at the moment that's what they're running with because it's the buzzword. But I don't know if moving forward, once everyone's used to it, it's just going to be a top 10.
Yeah, and there was even a change. I was watching Daniel's video not long ago. But I didn't know about this, to be honest, because I was born in 2000. But there was a change in the top 8 system before, and people apparently were up in arms about it when that changed from a top 6 to a top 8. I think this will probably just be the same where, for a bit we're all going to complain, and then everyone will get used to it and we'll carry on.
Yeah, I completely agree. And then you'll have a 19th team and probably a 20th team, and it's going to be a moot point. And I'm of the opinion, if it's more, if I can consume more football, then bring it. If I can go to more football, more as a neutral, bring it.
Yep.
Did you read the comment on screen, Felix?
Yes. Stay tuned. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned, everyone. We're well ahead of you. As usual, Felix, thank you so much for gracing us with your wonderful presence. Everybody knows you, but everything is where you find this great man, full of all the knowledge. Draft night. Let's hope we've got some content as well coming your way. But otherwise, Felix is the place you go. Thank you so much, legend. I'll talk to you soon.
See you guys.
Good night. All right, Scott, do we have Sam?
Please tell me you can hear me.
I can hear you. Okay, let's get straight into it.
Hey, I'm gonna. Can I give my 2 cents worth on Roby?
Yes, please do. Where do you stand?
So, I'm probably agreeing with your hesitation a little bit.
Yep.
But I will say, the way the Tigers built their dynasty was they actually just went, stuff it. We have to back ourselves in once and for all. So when they finished last, they got Cochin. When they finished second last, they got Dustin Martin. When they finished fourth or fifth last, they got Vlosten. But what had happened is the whole restructure started to happen in their back office, in their board, and in their presidency. So I must admit, if they pick Roby, I'll be happy because I really like him. But I think you're going to have to, at some point as a club, go, we've made the change. We've got the CEO, we've got the president, we've got the coach. So at some point, I feel like, I was actually thinking of Cochin and Martin going, and I was like, well, imagine that then if Roby and Sharp came on, because it's kind of like a similar, like you've got this leader, you've kind of got this leader, steady hand, grunt, and then you've got the wild card. Yeah,
you've got the bomb. You've got the enigma in. And you know one thing, Scott. Actually, you saying that, somebody reminded me because in my draft video, I said that are we the club to hold a Dustin Martin? If Dustin Martin walked into our doors tomorrow, are we the club to make Dustin Martin eventually what Dustin Martin is? And someone said to me, yeah, but don't forget that Dustin Martin played a good handful of shit games and was shit for the club. But I said that's because Richmond weren't able to nurture him at the talent that he was, in the enigma that he was. But they became that. So are you confident though that Essendon can become that? That's what the question is. How confident are you that Essendon becomes the club that can nurture and hold space for a player like Roby, that can put players around him who can allow him to be the main guy and not ask him to do more than what he's capable of?
Yeah, I mean, and that's an interesting point, because I'd probably back in a Durham, Caldwell, Martin mix of players that he probably will look up to at that age. I mean, it was interesting when he spoke to us on the pod, his favourite player was Roberts. So I don't
Roberts, well, one of them.
Yeah, so he's 18 years old. So who he may look up to is not Zack Merritt in a weird way. Even he's an Essendon supporter. It may be Sam Durham. It may be because Sam Durham started, when he's probably 14 years old, right? So it may be just the way of thinking about it is, can you back in the under 25s to bring him up and nurture him and develop him, rather than the 26 to 30-year-olds?
It's an interesting way to look at it, Scott.
Yeah, because you would probably know this as much as me, but I would challenge anyone that the 25 and under that are very much on the motivated end of changing things around for this club. And like when you mentioned the other night about, there's about 30 players change over, I think you have to sometimes sit back and just actually realize that. And you're just like, not you, I mean the audience and all of us as fans, just that the understanding of 30 players have gone out in 3 years, and what that actually,
People have to
While
that. And also you have to know that it's almost like the remaining Parish, Langford, Ridley. It's almost understandable. Like around them, 30 players. They've seen 30 players drop off all around them, and they almost look like mentally exhausted, mentally fatigued, and that mirrors what you're saying about the 25-year-olds who are the ones with the motivated energy. It's almost like those top ones now don't even have it in them. They're going to be the cherries on top almost. It's now this 25 to 26-year-old group.
Yeah, I mean, I know this sounds funny, but the blessing in disguise of the Merritt situation is it gave away complacency to a mid-20s group who probably thought at some point we actually may lose our captain. Yes, he stayed, but and how do I self-reflect on that? And I've got to get my act together. And what club do I want? Because Shield and Goldie and Setters and all these. I mean, Heps the previous year, and all these leaders are gone. So some of us would say so-called leaders, but all these, I guess, elder statesmen have gone. So, from my understanding, and you're probably hearing the same things, a lot of these under 25s are talking to each other and saying, "Well, what club do we want?" And that's so. I look when you counter that with Innes and Regan and Vozo and that change. I actually loved that Welshie was there today with Tim Roberts. So you had the president and vice president just walking around the ground and shaking the hands with the boys. I thought it's a smart visual altogether kind of feel. I mean, it might just be cheap, but I just thought it was a smart visual thing to do, just to be at the start on day one with the 1 to 4 year olds and just say, hey.
Welshie and Tim Roberts were there, and he was very lovely. He introduced himself to me and said hello, and Tim Roberts and Welsh were standing watching training, got up when the rest of us got up to go out and watch training with the rest of us, and they were standing there the whole time, and they didn't go in until the boys went in. So,
yeah, I just thought it was a good visual. It was a smart little visual moment just to be present on day one. And was that, people might say it's cheesy, but there is a little bit of it all in it together because Rosa was watching from the stands and, obviously, so you have Brad Scott there. And sometimes Brad Scott's not always there day one.
No, he's not. I must say, just everybody, Brad Scott is in absolutely exceptional condition. Now, I don't know if it's because he thinks he has to, we have so many injuries that he thinks he has to play, and so he's getting himself football ready, or he's training for a marathon or something. But my God, he is in exceptional nick. But no, he was there and he was standing on the outside, and Matt Innes was very much the man. I don't know if you were tuning in earlier when I said about training, but Matt Innes has a presence about him. It is a completely different energy to Sean Murphy. It is a commanding presence. It is one of fear but approachability. He is a guy who I could go up and say, look, I'm having a hard time with this. Can you just watch me here? But also, fuck, I don't want to let you down either, because you're this leader in my eyes already. It felt like he'd been out there for years, at least a year, not just his first session. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he did months ago a great podcast before he was even recruited by Essendon, and he was talking about the philosophy of earning the players' trust to make honest conversations with them. So he was talking about the dynamic of building relationships with each player in an authentic way. So when he had to say an honest truth, it came from a different platform and not from like, you don't really know me. So he actually said he actually works one-on-one. Each person gets to understand, knows their family history, wants to understand them, their culture, their everything like that, have that real authentic kind of understanding of them as a person, in the sense of, so when I need to say something honest to them, it comes from a better place and the players accept it quite more sincerely.
Definitely omitted that energy. Definitely omitted the, I don't want to let you down, but I also am not going to hide away and cry
Okay.
if you tell me that my
Yeah.
kick was really shit. I respect you enough. He's the kind of guy who commands respect and the kind of guy who you would take criticism from and want to cut your leg off to make amends, if that makes sense. Again, that's just from one day, but you all know the vibration the frequency that I'm on, and I pick up on this shit. And I thought it was intriguing and fascinating. And he had a smile on his face, and he was looking like he was enjoying himself, but he was stopping the play and really yelling that transition, defend, like just very vocal, which I loved. So that was really great. So, all right, let's talk about one Elijah Tsatas, who nailed his time trial today, looked incredibly focused and strong, and that we hear has a nice little challenge on his hands given to him by the club. How do you feel about it?
Look, I mean, for me, the important part is, and I've always thought about this with Essendon sometimes as a weakness, because I think personally we've over-preached flexibility in players, where that's fine, but that's sometimes flexibility to me is in game day, like it's halftime, it's not working, so we're going to have to, what else can we do to shift up the balance of the side? Not just say, hey, we're going to play you forward for 4 weeks. I think that disrupts your momentum. So for me, it's really important that each player has a specific idea of a role to focus on for their, which you would know for their mental side, to go, I know this is what I've got to work on. So to give Elijah a clear role, which sounds like, for all purposes, it's going to be kind of replacing the Setterfield run with kind of role. I think that gives him I mean, you mentioned it before about his kicking, because no one goes to Brisbane and says, gee, Dunkley can't kick, so he's not a good player, because all his attributes shine everywhere else. So it gives Elijah a little bit of, probably a bit of I think, mental room to not focus it on as much himself, to say, well, what's my task? The task today is maybe 50% is have a look at the opposition player that I've got to negate his role and hurting us as a side, but also having a side to me where I can win the footy when I feel like there's that opportunity. But if I get the footy, a bit like what Dunkley does, how can I work on an efficient 20, 30-metre kick? And just even those highlights he was having before, just you seeing him with the clinic, just noticed that he was doing a lot of 30-metre kicks, 30-metre passes. And I think, so what Dunkley can do is when he gets the ball, and he still gets it 25 times, so that's why he's an amazing player. But what he does is he understands fully his game. So that's where Zach Bailey comes into play. That's when other guys come into play, the cluggage and that sort of stuff. And he does the handball or the 30-metre kick or whatever. He just says, I'll just sort of dispose within my wheelhouse, make it efficient, and then off we go as a Lions side. So that's going to be probably his more focus, is just how can I be an efficient player with the ball and not have to chew off more than being just an offensive inside mid running out like a Parish or a Colwell may, or a Durham. He may have a slight negating role that he'll do. But I mean, the challenge is for him, right? It's with that is two-way running and physicality, and you're going to have it's quite a bit mental as well, because the opposition guy, he knows that you're the run with play, so he's going to be chirping. How are you going to handle that in your fourth year? Because some of these guys are going to be 29 guns of the AFL. So how are you going to handle that mentally? Because they're going to mention your kicking. They're going to mention this. So how do you handle that during the game that you can just focus and say, this is my role? So look, it'll be really interesting for him, but I'm pleased he's got a single-minded focus.
Yeah, the part I liked about, it won't be a shock to people, but the part of it, the aspect of it that I love the most is the psychological part, because in training, they're professional footballers, so rightly so. In training, in off season, in between weeks, the club has said to him, "Okay, they've recognised deficiency. Kicking probably is your deficiency. You need to be better before you get a game." So then, what does the brain then do? The brain then provides you with evidence of how bad your kicking is. And so when you go and then work on something that you are bad at, that is a frequency of lack. So in your head, I am bad at this. I need to get better. So you could be putting all the practice, you could be doing 60 plus hours a week more on your kicking, but it's in a frequency of lack, not in I am good at this because I'm a footballer and I am a gifted footballer. So I'm just going to get better at this. I'm just going to polish my skills. In his head, because it's been drummed in from fans, it's been drummed in from media, he's bad at kicking, he can't kick. It's this saturated negativity that is clearly giving him a complex about it. So in the off season, focus, bad kicking, kick. And he's lost sight of potentially some of his other attributes and what makes him a really good all-rounded player. And I think he has the discipline. I think he has the ability to play. He's not the fastest in the team, but Setterfield's not the quickest. And I think he has the ability to play on your Patrick Cripps, your Lockie Neal, who aren't quick, but they're smart, they're strong. Yeah. And I think he's strong. I think he's got no problem with his physicality. I think that's a tick for mine. And then I think the offense part comes naturally once all those controllables get ticked off.
Yeah. And look, I saw your comment about he might be too small at 187, but I would politely probably challenge you on Atkins at Geelong, who's I don't think he's even that size. It's a lot of it's upstairs. Is how you Atkins is unbelievably strong mentally on how he's disciplined in knowing his role, running and it just being a nag. I'm not fussed about his height at all. So I think it's just a matter of just maybe, it's just the challenge is up to him. And I think he'd be really passionate about it. And I think the exciting thing for him, it really gives him an obvious window into the best 22 because it's a role. There's a role there that they need. No one can claim it. Yeah,
that's right. It's a new motivation, and all of a sudden he's not focused on the kicking. And I think in answer to this, Sunstripe, thank you for being here, Sunstripe. He asks, is it something he believes himself though? Well, I think we have it on good authority that he does, because all of a sudden he's got something tangible to hold on to, not just I've got to fix my kicking and I'm not going to get a game until I fix my kicking. Lack mentality. All of a sudden we don't have someone at the club who can do this, who's playing this role right now. I can take this opportunity by two hands. I've already got my the body to do it. I'm fast enough to do it. All I need to do is something else that's tangible and work on my tank. Now, to me, today he's running beautifully, shaved 10 seconds off his previous best PB. That's already an improvement.
Yeah.
So that tells me that he does believe it. And I think he's refreshed I think we have it on good authority without saying too much, that he feels refreshed by the challenge. Am I correct in saying that, Scott?
We can't allude too much, but he's excited about it. I can say that. There's no look. The Essendon obviously know too that what they've got in the Coldwell Durham, but they also know pick 4 and pick 5's coming, and they probably know the Nike names that may get picked. So there could be a Cumming, there could be a Sharp, so it's a flow-on effect. They need to find that role, and he would need to change that side of his game to claim that role.
So my question to you is, because Caldwell is capable of playing this role. He's he does lack a few of the Dunkley assets, but he is capable of playing this kind of role and then either hitting the scoreboard or offensively hurting the opposition. What role, let's say Tsatas takes this by the scruff of the neck, like I believe he will, and, locks in his role in the team. What role do you see Caldwell playing more of?
Yeah, it's a great question. because you got. I'm trying to work out. I mean, the tricky part is that the coaches going to have to work out.
Yeah.
Durham, Caldwell, Parish, and how.
I keep forgetting about Parish every time we talk. I forget about Parish. Man, Darcy Parish.
But it's really hard. So often the run with player is actually, in a weird way, the more permanent on the ground because they've got a specific role to that opposition star. Say it's a Butters, say it's a whatever Lockie Neal. That's an important role. So it's how they rotate off the bench. The Caldwell, Durham, Merritt, Parish rotations, and because their rotations will be different. Like Durham will probably go to half forward, right? And be dangerous up forward because they couldn't do it last year. What they were trying to do because of injuries, but they had a whole training regime where he would run out of the midfield, rotate at full forward, and then isolate his man at full forward, and no one could stop him. Like he was killing it at training because of his leap and his marking prowess. And I thought, oh, this is great. This is a really smart move. It just couldn't work because everyone fell down injured.
Literally, and when we say everyone, like there's no asterisk on everyone. It was everyone.
So that will be interesting what they go back to. Like, what is Caldwell a bit more offensive? Because Caldwell is still to me an inside player. He's actually one of the best in congested situation. One of the best handballers in the AFL, in my opinion. Like he can find a handball out in congestion to the actual player's advantage so many times. So I still think that offensive side of him, of the grunt, get in the ball, but then get us going. I'd like to him really get back to that side of things. I think that handball release, it's just who on the outside, Fiorini obviously Nick Martin would have been perfect. So it'll be really interesting the more you go to training, Fiona, to report back on what the midfield mix is you're seeing, like what's the setup. Sometimes it's not easy, to be honest, to be fair to the fans audience, just as someone who's done it previously, because sometimes it's Durham versus Caldwell and you actually don't know what the setup is because obviously it's an internal match. So it's not always easy, but it'll be interesting to see what kind of eventually they start to, as the preseason goes on, they start to get the mix they want and that the starting mix, and that might be versus, pick five, Stars and Sharp, or
some of the VFL boys. You're so right, and it'll just be interesting to see like the integration of if Darcy Parish starts 2026 fully fit. And obviously Zack Merritt's there, and if the others are all fully fit, they're not going to know what to do with themselves with a fully fit midfield and back line and forward line. Well, the forward line was pretty okay. Touch bloody hell, touch all the wood available to you.
Look, it hasn't been said, but Ben Mackay being there day one is a big thing. Because he's just
clarify when you say there, not just present but healthy. He looks healthy and fit.
Yes. I mean, he's missed multiple preseasons. So that's a big, touch wood. Him, Reed and Ridley starting day one. And look, can you tell me? Yeah, I don't know if that's ever happened. So them actually training together for match sims is fantastic. How did, to your eyes, because I heard some really favourable things, but I'll get your opinion. How did Roberts look to you on today? Because I heard some pretty glowing reports on just his demeanour, his shape.
I don't think he cracked a smile the whole time. He did not crack a smile the whole time. You could have been forgiven for thinking today was match day. That's how seriously he was taking it.
Yeah.
And I say that in the best fucking possible way ever. He was like a lot of them were. as I said in the opening, a lot of them just had this. It was an energy that was not fucking around. There was no, and absolute king to all of us, Charlie Dons brought up a name that made me think, wow, this is probably the difference. But he brought up Sam Draper's name. And as we know, Sam Draper was, historically the one who brought a lot of, I'm not going to say fun, but a lot of silliness and, a bit of lightheartedness and a bit of stuffing around and making faces and acting like a big galoof. And that was not there today. That kind of energy was not there today, and not in a bad way. And Roberts was definitely leading that. He was, along with Fiorini, who else? And Dersma, Fiorini and Roberts were the ones who, so at the end of the time trial, obviously Gerine, Vigo, they were obviously Archer May, they were coming in last, of course, as you would expect, as the big boys. And they were the three that were just there once every single player across the line. They were the ones there clapping, engaging in the simulations, in the skills. They were using their voice, clapping, tapping. Fiorini had a big old smile on his face the whole time, but Roberts and Durst and Redmond, they were locked and loaded. Yeah, which just mirrors everything you know.
Last year, Gerine, not to make fun of him or anything like that, but he probably finished about 30 seconds behind Vigo last year. So for him to beat Vigo this year, it actually, it's just small things like that I actually notice, because it probably means your personal best time. Many people might go, oh, look, it's second last, but he's a big lump of an 18. It is not easy to run so that's why the three big boys are at the back. It's just very common if you watch training. But for him to finish in front of Vigo probably tells me you wouldn't be surprised if it's like something like 35, 40 seconds he's cut off his PB. So there are small things, but it helps.
He's playing a lot on 2 meter Peter today, Gerine, a lot. Yeah,
he's a player I really want to watch closely this year in the VFL, because there's something about him I really like, but I just still think there's a really big play there.
I'm convinced, Scott. What do you tell me? What are his biggest assets? What to watch from him moving forward at training? What do you want to see improving in small increments at training, aside from some natural endurance?
Yeah, so for me, he comes across as
Tommy. I will be there with the camera and my video recorder.
Can you bring an ambulance? Just in case.
All right, I'll have the ambulance on standby. But what am I looking for in Gerine?
There's enough injured players at that ground, thanks. So what I like, look, I won't lie. You could tell his personality when he came across was pretty chill, like pretty kind of. And I reckon the club probably knew that anyway. But it was he always did plays in the VFL where he either did it really bad because of lack of concentration. He just switched off. He was just. But when he switched on, he would nail a 40-meter pass left or right foot, and like as if he was bloody Andrew Jarman sometimes. And you're like, and you'd go, oh wow, that skill level for a guy that tall is so bizarre. So that to me was what I always held on to, was like, it always relied on, can he get an intensity about his game? So look, I was actually paying a little bit of attention on the 2-kilometer time trial today. I was like, I wonder if he doesn't, even if he finished last, is it by 5 seconds or is it? But
yes,
I was actually rapt he beat Vigo in a weird way, because it told me a sign. I thought the club was really smart in putting him in fullback in the last kind of second half of the year, because he started to get a bit of competitiveness about him. And then if you look at when you go to the VFL stats, have a look at his stats, say, in his last 4 or 5 games, because then you're seeing the 19-20 disposals, the 8 or 9 marks. It just suddenly, it was a bit late, but you just went, oh, okay, that's all I need to see. You're starting to get your competitive side. And look, he's far advanced than Vigo was in his first year. So you've got to remember, Vigo, I thought, was a bust the first year.
Poor Vigo. Oh, Vigo today, his body, he's still got that baby puppy body.
Yeah.
He's gonna trim up a lot throughout this preseason. Something tells me he's gonna really shed a lot this preseason, I think. But yeah, continue. Yeah.
And that's the case of Ruckman, right? I always try and tell people, it's like when I talk about Cooper Duff Titler in the draft, I go, everyone would have to cut this guy some slack for the first 2 years. He's 202 centimeters. He's not going to be Willem Dersma. He's not going to. It's like it's more like it's like I was saying to a friend the other day. Just think of Thilthorpe. Everyone thought he was a bust in the second year. It was like, oh, he was picked 2. Like he's nothing, and now he's 60-goal player. These ruckmen take time. So for me, it's like give Girine time, and I can promise you, I reckon there's a real big player there to break out in probably the 3rd or 4th year, if I'm being honest. But if he puts it together, his skill level, you'll see it sometimes, his skill level left or right, because he says he can kick is just as good as left or right. There's no real advantage either way. He's got a bit of that. So
well, he is going to be someone that I'm going to put on my list to watch this off season, just because I want to see his evolution. I want to see small, as you mentioned, small incremental improvements. So I watched him today, and I watched him get outmarked a bit, and so he should, but outmarked on 2 metre Peter, who he played on a lot today, and that's fine and that's good. 2 metre Peter should be doing that. But I want to see incremental improvements over this off season. So I'll be watching out for him specifically.
Yeah. Can I give you one last question before I go?
Hit me.
All right. So the club today talking about the 2 NGAs and saying that if basically they're suggesting that, hey, if we rate another player and someone bids early on Adam Swade, there's no guarantee we pick up Adam Swade. Do you think that's strategy, or do you think that's actually them being honest?
I think that is some exceptionally terrific mind games by Rob Forster Knight today. I think with no disrespect to Huss, because I absolutely love Alechka, and I personally think they both get done personally. But I think this was a very much targeted toward the competition on Swade, because I think there's just a club out there who's just gonna do a nice little cheeky bid on him at, say, pick 20, 21, just for the shits and gigs. And I think it was mind games. What do you think?
Yeah, I think for the most part it's mind games. If they do trade 21 and 27 for, say, 15 or 18, and a bid comes early for Swade, that's the only scenario where, unfortunately, there might not be mind games. They might go, oh.
But hang on. So if we've got pick 15 and 18, are you saying that if a bid comes before that?
Oh, sorry. No, so we've got 21, 27, right? So there's a view that Essendon may trade those 2 picks either for the Suns pick 15 or pick 18. So
okay, so then if we have pick 15 and a bid comes before on Swade at 14, then we have to use 15.
Then for me, Essendon would go, sorry, Adam, there's too much talent on the board. Now, I don't think that happens.
But even if that happens, Scott, are you sure? Because it doesn't matter, and you and I have talked about this in our chats a bit. Doesn't matter that there's other players on the board who are technically rated better than Swade if Swade is exactly what we need to fill a hole at Essendon?
It depends how much you think that gap is. I mean, look, that would be a very bizarre scenario to me if Suede went before our pick 15. I say it would be a very odd because this. I mean, we're talking Josh Lindsay. Is expected to go around that. So we're talking like, say, if the scenario of Josh Lindsay was available and you had someone be like this. Harley Barker, these guys, and you're like, oh, like they're really good players, Adam. Like, but I don't think it'll happen. I think they've done enough selling Essendon on. If you bid on Suede, you're going to have to want him. So don't expect us to just naturally match it. I think they've done it well enough that I personally don't think he will get bid on in the top 20 at all. I think the team that will bid on him is actually the team after our pick 21, which is Hawthorn 22, just for being Hawthorn.
I was just about to say, just because they want him or because they still hold some resentment and
just a fun little
kill all of our players in round one because they hold resentment for the off-season disaster.
Yeah, thankfully their picks after us.
Yeah, so all right, so then let's talk about Huss. Where do we think he gets bid on and by who?
Yeah, so he's a tricky one because Cal Toomey was right. He's a player that some teams are going to rate around the 20 to 30 mark, and there's some that are going to rate him around the 40 mark. And it's just which teams are around those marks and how they rate him. Because I try and tell people he missed a lot of goals this year. Like, he missed a lot of goals. He still kicked 38 in 18 games. So, he was still.
How many would he have left on the table? Approximately.
I wish I knew that stat, but it felt like almost 50%. But he had a lot of shot on goals. But he had, I remember around about games 15 or 16, I remember seeing a stat that I think it was like 55% of his possessions were a score involvement, either a teammate or him.
Yes, I think that's important.
Yeah, so I actually don't mind him. I rate him more than others. Like, I thought he was really crafty in a lot of games, and he kicked 3 for our. He played one game in our VFL, kicked 3. So it's not like he was, undeterred with the VFL. But my gut feel is he'll get a bid around 35. That's my gut feel.
Hey, Langy, you behave, please. How are you, Langy? Hope you're well. No, we are not saying the Blues should take him or do any kind of shenanigans. Thank you very much. But this is a good question.
Under your development program, no, I wouldn't take him.
No, you don't need him. You've got who you got now? You've got all your new recruits. Good question here. How do we get 15? Won't Gold Coast need it for bids? Would we trade it at their first pick?
Yeah, so what the scenarios with pick 15 is pick 21 and 27 is more points than pick 15. So what that scenario is when the Suns just need points and they actually don't care about the draft position, it's just sitting on points, then they look for teams who have more points, right? So Essendon 21 and 27 are actually more draft points for their NGAs than pick 15. So that's why a trade like that may happen. There's 2 scenarios that I see as possible. So because the 15-1 makes it very difficult because you've only got 30 left and that's it. You've only got 1 pick for an NGA. So you're really stuck. So my view was that you would look at the Suns pick 18. So, but what you would do is say 21 and 27.
Yeah.
You give. And you ask for their pick 18, but then you also ask for their pick 36. So what happens is we go up 3 spots from 21, we get 18, and we've got a slightly better player. I think that even covers before a Suede bid. But then you have 30 and 36 for Suede and El Achkar. So I think that to me is probably the smartest solution, where Suns still get more points, but you get that back end 36 that has a point enough to get El Achkar as well. So you have then 5, 6, 18, 30 and 36.
That sounds good to me. I like that, Scott.
Yeah, I think that's the smartest approach if you want the 2 NGAs.
Yeah, gotcha. There's certainly lots of permutations that can move forward. Thank you so much for jumping on, Scott. Always an absolute
pleasure.
You'll be seeing more of Scott, absolutely. And if you don't see him here, you know where to find him. The Lunchtime Catch-Up podcast is the place to be. As always, great pleasure. Thank you so much, Scott.
Thanks, mate. Oh, Fiona. Oh, I did the ultimate sin. I should have just called you. I should have just called you fuckface and got over it.
But the most important thing is that you corrected yourself and picked it up and defended you and changed your ways, and I appreciate that wholeheartedly. So thank you so much. Talk to you soon.
Yeah.
Good night. Bye. All righty. Now we have an absolute favourite of mine, of everybody here, up next. He is going to talk to us about everything, basically. Hello, favourite.
About life, bit of philosophy.
Live, running 2K time trials. I want to know if we've got the next superstar in Jackson Binns on our hands. What's going on? Why'd you get rid of Jackson Binns?
JB, my boy. Pomino's royalties, yeah. JB. Is
Blues royalty. Why have you got rid of him? He's quick. Every time I blinked, he was over there. Next time I blinked, he was over there.
Tell you what, I can highly recommend Jackson because he featured on my channel about 2 years ago when he was in the draft. He was one of the first to come on my channel. Top guy is Jackson. I can highly recommend. Probably from a Cowton aspect, he's VFL. I don't want to be disparaging about him because I think he could be good and I think he could make it AFL level. But from a Cowton aesthetic, there was something obviously Voss didn't like about him. So he came into his draft. He played in the VFL. He took out our VFL best and fairest. He was absolutely phenomenal year one. Vossi has always demanded heavy defensive.
How many was his first year? 2000 and...
So he was 2 years ago. So this would be his third year, just gone. So year 4.
Yep.
So first year he took out our VFL BNF. He was sensational. Like he was averaging nearly 30 touches a game, taking the piss, doing whatever he wanted. Michael Voss, though, really demands from our wingers. They play quite contested football as opposed to a proper winger. So I think that's a big thing with Jackson, that's not his game. And it's something we covered quite a bit in VFL reports on my channel, that if you're asking Jackson to do that, you buy a winger that does that. That's not Jackson's game. He's more the attacking winger. He enjoys that freedom. He'll get you a goal. So I think it's a personality clash. That's how I read it, because I think in fairness to Jackson, there's players that Cowton have played that he is better than. Okay. So I hope he gets another chance. Real good kid. I can tell you this, last year, in 2022, when we did the draft, I think he was mentioned by 6 players we interviewed as the most underrated player.
Okay.
Ollie Hollins was huge on him. Like Ollie Hollins, we interviewed Ollie on my channel, and that was the first thing he said. A guy that you look for, Jackson Binns. He was like untapped talent. So I think that's
that. I like getting pumped when you get pumped ups from fellow players who play in similar roles or see you up close and personal. What are his deficiencies that a club like Essendon shouldn't carry?
Well, I think you've had great.
Keep in mind that we're in a great era.
I think someone that you've probably had success with is Macca. So Liam McMahon. Very similar story to Binns. In the VFL, took the piss. Cowton ignored him.
We're coming for your VFL team, Tom. Look out.
Yeah, well, Cowton ignored him once, twice, 3 times. So we've ignored him quite a bit. It's not like a recent thing. And something that I said on my channel, why I wasn't a Liam McMahon fan, was the way Voss uses the keys. There's no way McMahon can do that, because Voss, everyone makes mobile is like the key. But you put Macca in the goal square, you make him a target, you say keep the key defender honest, we'll have people running around you, he'll do very well. Jackson, when he played in the VFL, you saw it when he stepped up to senior level. He had some great games where he kicked goals and he kept his width. That's not what Voss wants from his wingers. So is Jackson an AFL player? I think we don't know. I think for the deficiencies for you guys is if you play him in his best position, which you've done with Gus Clark. You've done that really well. You watch Gus Clark's draft. His deficiencies were obvious. You've hidden them because you've played him to his strengths. You play Jackson, no defensive responsibility. You have Archie Roberts covering him behind him. You have Newen behind Archie, real strong defensive small line. Jackson can play that aggressive role in the final third of the ground. He'll be very strong. So
But
I wish you all the best.
is that a good precedence to set in a young team? Have instead of making a player improve their defensive accountability, you have players there to mop up their defensive lack? Like, is that the right mentality, or is that simply taking a player, seeing him for what he is, and using him to his strengths?
Look, I've said this for years about Carlton, and Michael Voss is how do I say it without being like mean?
That's never worried you before.
The way Michael Voss coaches is, I can tell he's got an archetype of how a player and a team perform, and he believes 22 players, 23 now, are running up and down the ground. They're all contributing defensively, offensively. You look at the good teams though, Brisbane. You don't want Lockie Neal tagging someone. They ain't gonna play Eric Hipwood 75 meters from goal. They know the limitations of players, and they play it. So Dunkley's a great example of Brisbane. He can tag, he can defend, but he can also go forward and kick goals and play across half forward. They have aces in their places and role players. Carlton kind of live in a everyone's got to be a very good role player, even if you're a star mentality. Yeah. So I think if you're building a young team, you've got Dersma, who works hard defensively on one wing.
Now
Things
Fiorini
can be the exciting guy. So there's something there in him. I mean, look, you don't rack up the ball in VFL like he did. Like, he had 45 touch games, like where he looked like Gary Ablett Jr. So
playing on the wing.
I know it's VFL, like we're comparing apples with pineapples, but
was
he's
that
got something
playing on the
there.
wing though? Was that playing on the wing?
He keeps his width, and that's something that I say a lot about Carlton. Carlton love to get contested, where the good teams win the contest and move. Jackson's the archetype. I'll stay on the wing. You get me the ball. I'll run all day. And I believe he took out your time trial, did he, today? Because I tried to text you some intel. I got text by a good mate of his, and he says, "You'll never guess where Jay is now." And he told me, and then you'd already found out you were there. So
yes, I was watching. He was leading the pack from the get go, and I mean, and Angus Clark is a wonderful, fast, quick runner and wins our time trial, last year by a mile. But that was the biggest gap, and granted, Gussie closed it towards the end, but Binzi was leading it for a long time, and the consensus was, oh, Gus is just in second gear. He's going to absolutely smoke him at the end. Bins, nah. But you know what stood out to me, Pom, is that it wasn't just in the time trial. It was in the mini match simulation, the skills. He would just swoosh past, and I'd be like, who was that? And lo and behold, it was him each time. And so I don't know. I just think for a team like Essendon, that another one of we've got so many bloody deficiencies, which I've spoken to you in the chat and everybody watching knows, but speed is also one of them. So, but is speed worth it? If you're not defensively minded, or you're not you're not doing anything with your defense, I don't know.
Look, I always say this, and you've only got to look at the last 5 years of AFL. Defence is nice, but everything now is movement, quick, transition football.
You're right. You do say this.
So with Jackson, will Jackson make the grade? Time will tell. I think he's got all the facets in the right system, in a system that rewards him. He could be good. So I will concede. I don't think Carlton had the faith in him. And I think we went out, and you've only got to look at last year. There was players that had just come in ahead of him. So Carlton obviously didn't rate him internally. And I would say a big part of that is Michael Voss. I don't know that for facts, but reading between the lines, there is players that have done 10% of what he's done in the VFL and played games in his role. Binsey never seemed to get it, so I do think it's a personality clash. There was that famous footage, that old 20.
I was just about to say my last question on Bin is: will he? Would we be taking damaged goods because has he been able to mentally recover from that hiding, that very public spray that Michael Voss gave him when he was standing around many other senior players who weren't lifting their weight, but he went for bins? Would he have recovered from that? Is that fire in his belly?
Yeah, well, I mean, I'll say this. What impressed me about Jackson during that interim is he went out and I think he was best on the next 3 VFL games after that.
Interesting.
So that's one thing that I praised him for in my VFL reports, that I've seen a lot of players sulk at Carlton. Lockie O'Brien would be a guy that I was heavily harsh to in his last year because it looked like he took the piss. It looked like he'd given up that entire last year of his deal. Like, he'd spit the dummy out. One thing that impressed me about Binsey is he was game. He was game, and he came back and had that impression to me that he was like, I'm going to prove you wrong. Petra's spot on. He responded well. I couldn't implore him enough. I'll always go back to that spray, though. You go back and watch that game. Bins would have been in between me telling the cheer squad off him and someone else. Like, he was definitely not in your top 20.
Not even close. I was watching that game. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think if you're being finicky, there was the missed tackle. Like, his effort, the tackle effort for the second goal in that quarter was piss.
Yeah.
But, like, genuinely, I'd say he wasn't alone, to be fair. Like, Jackson's a better man than me, because I would have been like, well, this guy's getting battered. Charlie Kernow's treating the aerial ball at the minute like it's a hand grenade. There was quite a few things you could pick out. So I wish him well. I wish him well. Essendon are stealing my boys, though, because you've also got Domaku as well, my boy, in your VFL.
Yes.
We proudly sponsored Dominic for 2 years.
We're coming for. I think we're just going for a new tactic. Just I don't mind it, but we'll see how it plays out. Now, what I want to talk to you about, Pom, something very specific. Now, we've had Felix drop by earlier. The only other person who knows just as much, if not more, about the draft is our mate Pommy. We've had a lot of conversations, you and I, but you obviously were doing your live show, so you wouldn't have seen. But there has been a new challenge given to one of our young mids in Elijah Tsatas to develop, work on his endurance, work on his ability to play a role within the team that the likes of your Jai Newcomb, your Tom Atkins, your Josh Dunkley's that you referenced play, in that having that offensive weaponry in your arsenal, but also running with some of the game's most strongest explosive midfielders and making them work for every possession, for every bit of ascendancy that they get. So the club have said to Lige, you're clearly in no man's land. He's clearly down on confidence with everyone coming at him for his kicking. How about we give you a new challenge, some tangible, controllable markers to hit? Today he ran his best PB in the time trial, so he's already making headway in that little challenge that the club have given him. So that is pretty much what's gone down. Now, my question to you is, we're obviously Essendon are obviously targeting midfielders in the draft, clearly with our picks 5 and 6, and before bids and all that. Should Tsatas take this role and absolutely blossom into it, and it becomes something that he can make his own in the team? Obviously, then we've got Caldwell, Durham, Parrish, Merritt, Martin to play with when Marto's back. Who are the mids that would most complement that mid group, in your opinion, in the draft? So say, again, this is just preempting that midfield group, and Elijah comes into his own in that role. Based on that, who are the mids who would complement what we have and fill gaps in the midfield still, in your opinion?
What? So in of the draftees, the kids that are coming.
Yeah,
That you
yeah. So
select?
so who would be the two that you'd think, yeah, okay, if you've got the personnel we've got currently, and then I'm adding that extra little nugget that Elijah Tsatas becomes that run with role player, but unlike Setterfield, who was a bit limited offensively, he just had that one. He only had that one string to his bow where he could run with a Patrick Cripps, but he would lose his part of the game. Say Elijah Tsatas nails that. Who are the kids who complement us?
Yeah, so I think you've got to look at like the most balanced midfield in the league. So the most balanced midfield in the league, without a shadow of a doubt, is Brisbane, and it's not even close. Like I think every second to Brisbane is like comparing me to Usain Bolt at a 100-meter race in a two-man race, and going, like people were like Pom finished second in a two-man race to Usain Bolt. He was close, but the gap was like 1,000 meters by the end of it. It's tough to answer. I mean, when I look at it, I think, how are you going to play the role? So what does a perfect midfield do? Let's look at Brisbane as the example. It can win the contested ball. It can extract it. It can hurt you goal scoring wise. So let's try and find players to make it. So you'd say Caldwell would be the closest you've got to Dunkley in that type of way. Defensively, his defensive craft. You'd say Zack Merritt and... it's probably a bad name to say, but you'd say Zack Merritt and Neil are the distribution tools of that.
Yep.
Limited, because Neil's a lot better player, but you can see like where you could use it that way. Then you've got Elijah doing the run with role, which Brisbane don't usually play that role. That's Dunkley's role, but we've got to do it.
Yep.
You then have to add, I think when I look at your midfield, I think it's goal shy. I don't look at Essendon and think, okay, someone's going to kill me from goals around here. So there's definitely someone who's going to be front-footed offensively. So straight away, Sam Cumming looks at, like, Sam Cumming is that archetype player. Sullivan Roby, another rambustious midfielder that can go forward. These two guys can break games open. And then it's where you want to go. Like, I'd say if Zack Merritt is guaranteed to leave next year, Dyson Sharp rings the bell for me straight away. First cab off the rank in that aspect, because leadership is an accumulator. Everything that everyone knocks him for, like when I see knocks about Dyson Sharp, I understand people don't understand how midfields work, right? So the knocks on Dyson doesn't tear you apart with his kicking, doesn't win gritty ball enough for me. Okay, cool, but midfields need the engine room. They need the black blanket that makes the stars shine. Dyson Sharp would be the most important person in your midfield. You'd forget about him, but he'd be the most important. He'd be like the George Hewitt of Carlton. Without him, Carlton looks stupid. So he would be there. Sam Grill would be another name that I've not seen linked with you guys, but point of difference, incredibly quick, and runs two ways. So that's as rare as rocking horse shit. So usually you're quick, or you have endurance. You don't usually have both. He has both. So one of the fastest times ran in the combine this year, but he was also top 5 for his time trial as well. So that is incredibly rare.
And you know, if we're talking about life with Zack Merritt, which I also touched on in my draft video, Sam Grill is one of Zack Merritt's wonderful traits is that he still runs at a really high level of output under exceptional duress, and having run many kilometres and put in a lot of hard yards over 3 quarters in the fourth quarter, his output is still as good as it was in the first, and sometimes better depending on the situation or the game. So, and that is something that I see with Sam Grill.
100%. I think you've nailed it. So, I mean, that's like, and I'm surprised no one's linked him to you. Do you know what I mean? Like, usually there is a link. And I would say when I look at your midfield, like you've said it yourself, you want pace, you want something like, you know, different. Sam Grill would be totally different to anything you've got. I don't think there's anyone in your list that has Sam Grill's facets. So that could be a fascinating one. But I think you're in a great spot. Like, I think if I wanted to pick anywhere, I'd pick where you are, because I think Richmond are going to be sexy.
Yep.
Eagles have got to nail it.
Because they can, because last year they went a bit rogue and they went, this year they went disciplined last year. This year they can go sexy and be a bit flamboyant with their picks.
Yeah,
West
I mean,
Coast?
Richmond and West Coast, they've got to nail it. So West Coast, I can't see them being incredibly creative with 1 and 2. I know people are trying to reinvent the wheel with them. Like, I've seen Sullivan Roby links and, like, madness if you're Eagles getting Sullivan Roby. Because everyone always looks on the bright side of life. What if he becomes a superstar? What if he becomes Will Phillips 2.0? Like,
exactly. You've used number 2 on him.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, so it's all right. Everyone's saying his last 8 weeks, though, Pom. Yeah, cool. But I'm more concerned about his next 8 months, his next 8 years. Like, so 8 weeks doesn't tell us that. There's potential. So I think Eagles aren't going to reinvent the wheel. It's going to be Dursma, and then it's going to be pick 2. He's going to be, you presume, it's going to be someone, either CDT. If the rumours are true and they view Dyson Sharp where I do, which is the second best player in this draft pool, it could mean that they trade down, which then makes it incredibly interesting because you'd imagine pick 2 is going to be someone that's heavily sought after, either CDT for a team that wants a tall, or maybe someone tries to get in front of Richmond, knowing Richmond look like they're picking Roby.
Who needs CDT the most that could potentially do that trade?
Well, if you listen to Eagles, they try and tell you that Bailey Williams, Jack Williams, who else have they thrown at me? Job Shanahan, they're all incredible good footballers. CDT isn't the footballer you think he is. He is a freak of nature. Like, if you were born in 1910 and you saw CDT, you would believe aliens exist on Earth because he doesn't move like a human being. Like, like the combine, when we saw the combine results, they were the ones that shocked me because their midfield numbers of a 185 midfielder, but he's a 201 centimetre hunk of beef. It makes no sense how it's possible. So I think he's huge. So when people say Eagles don't need a tall, they probably do, because not many players are like CDT. Like, they're as rare as rock.
With the same attitude as Essendon. Essendon don't need a forward or a tall. We probably could do with another developing ruckman, but if CDT is there, the temptation.
Well, I mean, I think CDT would walk into your side as the second best forward. Like,
yeah, that's crazy.
Genuinely, like,
yeah,
like, I think people like, I watched his game for you guys, actually, the VFL, and he was lining up against very heavily touted St Kilda defenders who were year 2 players, some year 3. And you speak to a St Kilda fan, a lot of them guys are guys that they were quite happy to lose battle for because they were like, long term, these guys are probably going to get us through. He tore them apart, like, and he was a child. Like I hate saying it, as a 40-year-old man, I think I'm qualified to say it, but a 17, 18-year-old is a child. Like, you shouldn't be hurting men, and he was hurting them. So I think he'd be heavily sought after. If they trade 2, I would presume it's CDT. So Melbourne would look at it.
Okay.
I don't believe Melbourne need it, but that much, I think they need it.
They notoriously lack talls and notoriously lack forwards. Melbourne, they could definitely do with a CDT. I think Richmond could probably. Is there any chance Richmond would do it? Would take him if Eagles don't?
I think Richmond are fascinating because when you hear Richmond fans, they say the same. We've got Harry Armstrong though, Pom, and I'm like, yeah, you have. We got John C. Fall. Yeah, you have. You haven't got CDT though.
Yeah.
The thing is, when you judge CDT's value, you've got to ascertain it in the terms of CDT is a forward who rucks. People make the mistake that they think permanent ruckman. Look at him as a forward who will eventually ruck in the next 2 to 3, 4 years.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you got to look at some of these unicorns with a bit of a different lens. Just like Felix said, if he picked out 4 players, and if they're there, you take them because they're that unicorn mould. Alrighty, well, it looks like I think either way we're going to get some guns at those picks that we have, and hopefully some mids to complement our midfield. And if we can keep adding strings to our current mids bows, then that is just a bonus. So, all right, Pom, might leave you there. Thank you so much, my friend. Thank you for all that you do and all that you are. We love you here.
We love you too.
You got some big plans moving forward. Big week and a bit coming up left for you. You all know where to find Pommy. Pommy and Oz is the place to be. But he's got all the draft content you could ever want. So head over to the channel and follow him and consume all the content.
I've got your mate actually. Wednesday, Felix. He's representing Essendon.
He's
been randomly allocated. He is the list manager of Essendon in a live mock draft where we've got 7 content creators competing against each other. We've all been allocated a couple of teams each. Full rules, trades, the full shebang. But he is representing you guys. He is Matt Rosa at the minute. So, all
right. Well, just repeat when that's on, please.
Wednesday, 7 p.m. He will be. There's everyone. Well, Dylan Alexander, me, Lekdog, Ian, Hayden from the Footy Yarn, WA expert, really knowledgeable about the Western Australian kids as well. Really good kids. So we've got quite a few of them on. True Footy, Jesse. It's going to be a fight.
All right, well, everybody tune into that. I will be there. Pom, I'll talk to you soon. Thank you so much, friend.
Much love. Enjoy, everyone.
Bye. All righty. Three legends left to go. Hang in there. Next up, Richard. How are you?
Okay, Fiona. How you going?
I'm good. And you? Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you. Been a little while since you've been on, but good to see you back streaming again.
Yes, it's good to be amongst some footy energy today. How are you going without footy? Are you in the I miss it camp yet or enjoying the reprieve?
Oh, I don't miss the 2025 footy. But I guess you kind of get the itch around now, don't you? The draft coming up, and then you start thinking, oh, I wish I could see these kids playing tomorrow. It would be nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and then they get to training with their energy and their intent, and yeah, I think it's although I was told today that they're finishing up, quite late in December, and then they're back, 8th, 9th of Jan. So the window of time, because they've already had about 2.5 months off, so the window of time left without football, a lot of football content is quite little. So that gives me hope. But anyway, how are you feeling? Yeah. What do you want to cover?
Oh, good question. I was kind of thinking more because I know obviously the draft is the big thing at the moment, and I got, I guess, a couple of thoughts on it. I'd say the wild card thing just quickly. Charlie's he's converted me a little bit more. I loved his energy. It was good, and obviously I follow US sports as well, so I'm familiar with the play-in and the NBA and all that sort of thing. So.
Okay, so give me your perspective, Richard. How did it work? Does it work? Do the fans lap it up? Does it generate excitement for the competition?
It works. I think it works for the NBA specifically because, like Charlie was saying, is that their games, they play way more frequently. They play 2 or 3 times a week rather than us. Footy, you play once a week, if that. So, and the play-in works in that it's a little bit different to how they've done it here, in that obviously with this wild card, it's 7v10, 8v9, I think. Whereas in the NBA, it's 7v8 and then 9v10. Okay. And then they play one more game. So the winner of 9-10 plays the loser of 7-8, essentially.
That kind of makes sense. So why aren't we doing that?
Yeah, but then... Well, because then the 9-10 team, one of them will have to play 2 games in a week and then play the actual elimination final the week after. They'd have to play 2 games.
Could they not schedule a week's break, or is that?
Well, that you're using up the pre-finals bye to play the first 2 games, and then they need to play another game, and then they need to play the elimination final. So they're playing 3 games in a week essentially, which is
that's
completely.
Not doable.
That's not, it's not doable for AFL. That's what I mean. But with NBA it works because the guys play 3 times a week anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
Okay.
But I'm interested to see how it goes. I mean, the only thing is, I'm not interested. I'm interested in it as a footy fan. I'm not interested in it really as an Essendon fan specifically, because I'm not interested in us scraping to finish 10th. And are we going to win the flag from 10th? No. And are we going to get a shit pick from 10th? Yes. So you know what I mean? It's a
But what if we
lose-lose from
did?
my perspective. Sorry?
But what if we did? What if we made a prelim from 10th?
If we win the flag from 10th with a percentage of 85, then I'll dye my hair red. How
Hey,
about that?
man, you're not seeing me. You will not see me. I will go AWOL. I will be in Florence. Then I will be in Kingdom Come. I will be an absolute non-factor. I swear to God. I mean,
I'll walk to Florence from here if we did that.
hell yes, that's the energy. But
Yeah.
I think the excitement, if that can be done for the team that does it from either 9th or 10th, I think. But here's the thing: what are the chances it happen? Are the chances that it happens so low?
Yeah.
That that it's even worth saying what if? Because I don't know.
'cause I
So
mean,
you think
yeah.
potentially dilutes the quality of the eventual finals potentially.
Yeah, because I mean, to be honest, let's be honest. In the finals as it is already, 7th and 8th is kind of just and we're here as well type teams. They usually get knocked out in the first week anyway. No one really thinks about them again. They were just making up the numbers most of the time. You know what I mean? Unless you're the Bulldogs from 2016. But even this year, I'm pretty sure. I think 7th and 8th got knocked out first week. I might be wrong, but neither of them were in the grand final. So you know what I mean? So it's kind of, you're kind of just extending that bracket of average teams. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it is true. Yeah, I think. But do you subscribe that it's going to generate more excitement for the teams to be fighting for that spot? So 7th and 8th.
Yeah, that's one thing that Charlie was saying that I didn't think of, which I agree with, in that it
Yeah, me
kind of,
too.
I guess it gives those teams just outside incentive to keep playing hard, and so you don't get as many dead rubbers at the end. I think in the sense that helps the season, but I don't think it really helps the finals really, because it doesn't really. I don't think it changes the outcome.
Yeah.
You know
So
what I
you
mean?
know what? Like in a weird way, there's almost if you did a pro list and a con list, there's almost as many pros as there is cons. And if the list is equal, it begs the question: should have been a decision to go ahead with it if the pros are just as many as the cons? Shouldn't the pros be a few more extra rather than the cons to move forward with a big idea like this? Or, as people suggested in the chat earlier in the night, trial it in the VFL or the AFLW. I know some people said that there is a wild card in the VFL, I think. I didn't know there was, to be honest, but anyway, we wait and see, I guess. And if Essendon imagine Essendon are the first team to do it. I mean, it's so unlikely and never going to happen, but imagine, that would be fucking epic. Anyway, moving on.
The only other thing I was probably wanting to ask you what your thoughts were is on. I mean, I'm obviously fully behind Brad and what he's doing and the project and Rosa and all that, but one of my concerns for next season is, how much of a how much slack is he going to be given? Because I don't think we're going to be that good next year, to be honest. I think you might be sort of on board as well with that. And the main reason why I say that is, even though we'll have most of the list back, we probably won't have 18 injuries next year, touch wood. I still don't think even the full list is that good, to be honest, at the moment. I'm saying the young kids I'm fine with the young kids. I'm loving where we're going with the young kids, but I don't think our senior core, with or without Merritt, I don't think our senior core is good enough to really do that much, because, like I think I've said in the past when I've been on with you, they haven't done much in the past before, so why should I think they're going to do much now? Especially if McGrath's going to take over as kind of the pseudo captain in the expectation that Merritt will probably leave, maybe whatever.
Yep.
Off field, he seems perfectly fine as a leader, but on field, him, Redman, Wright, I guess Mackay, kind of Ridley. Does that scream top 4, top 6 leadership group? You know, top 6 team talent level? I don't think so. So I think the problem is that I believe that you can play them, but I think we should still aim to not really. I don't want to finish 10th again next year, and people say, "Oh, look how good we were! Look how much of improvement we made." When once again we're just sort of stuck in the middle, where I wouldn't mind finishing bottom 4. It sounds bad, but I wouldn't mind finishing bottom 4, get another top 4 pick next year. More senior players from the list will probably retire or leave, and then we just keep building with the young core that we have, because I guess the main thing I'm trying to say is I think the senior core we have now should eventually be moved on, most of them, and the young core that we're building with what we've got now, Caddy, Martin, Caldwell, Kako, you know, all those guys, Dyson Sharp if we get him, Roby, Roberts, those guys should become the senior core that I think could get us to the top 4 one day. But I don't see the point in treading water and finishing 10th just because people don't like watching us lose. You know what I mean? Because I feel like people are just going to lose patience again and say Brad needs to get sacked because we're not doing well. And you know what I mean? Just go on that merry-go-round again.
The cycle, yeah, there is every chance at the cycle to repeat. But look, I don't think there is a chance we finish 10th or higher. Personally, I think we've definitely got, our window is definitely not now. That's for sure. I'm probably with I'm a bit with Adam slightly on this. If the best, most talented of our current list were playing at optimum output all year, that's enough. But this is such a but, like it's the biggest but in history, and it has to be. It's relevant because it just never happens. We never have our most talented current list playing at optimum. That is the problem. That is the whole problem. When one is up, one is down. When 5 are up, 4 are down, and that's the merry-go-round that we talk about and that we're on.
Yep.
So, and look, I think that's for a host of reasons, and there are reasons for that. And granted, we've put mechanisms in place to hopefully ensure that doesn't happen. But I do think one thing I will say about your comment on the senior players, being the great, a good leadership group or a good base of leaders on field to take us forward. Well, to that I say, well, we've had our best player as captain for 3 years now. Where has that gotten us? In the past, we've had our best player as captain. Has that gotten us that far? It really hasn't. So why not? So right now, I'm keen to see what our best leader at the club as captain would look like. I actually think it might have, maybe I more hope with McGrath being probably the next captain, that it might work in reverse. You know how sometimes the tell is, if someone becomes captain, it's a lot of pressure and they perform better without the extra load on their shoulders. Well, I think it might have the opposite effect on McGrath, that maybe the extra leadership, the extra veil of leadership might help him perform better. And I'm alluding to, the games he played in the midfield in the back half of this year, the games without Merritt in there when Merritt had his hand, that was his best game of the year. And it was because he was standing a bit taller with that extra veil of responsibility and pressure. And now I'm the head man here and I'm the guy, and I want to be the difference or be a difference in this team. And it's me or bust here. And he seemed to excel with that kind of pressure. So a part of me hopes that it has that effect on him. I think it's also important to note, Richard, that you're right. We've gotten rid of 30 players in 3 years, so there's clearly an identification that the list needs to be upgraded. But it's the 24 to 25 core that are going to take us forward, and that's why we're still 2 years off. And as you suggested, we probably need 2 more years of good drafts to to collect, I say that in a respectful way, to collect some more high-end talent, and also use free agency and trade, because the future is not just in young talent anymore. I mean, the competition has shown that it's not through, whilst Brisbane has a lot of great young talent, they have acquired a lot of free agents, trades, father-sons. You've got to be lucky. So you need a mix, a whole mix. It's not just about going to the draft for another 2 years. You need to be open to all the other avenues.
Yeah, but just quick on because you mentioned Brisbane as well.
Yeah.
Talking about, if our players all play at their best at the same time, when you're in that when you're in the position of, if it's a final, if it's a wild card, whatever it is, when push comes to shove, that's when the teams with the best senior core, that's when they pull through and win the game, when it's there to be won. Like when the grand final, for instance, the game was tied at halftime. Who stood up for Brisbane? Lockie Neal stood up. Zach Bailey stood up. Charlie Cameron stood up, and they won the game for them. And obviously the rest of the team, but their leaders stood up, made themselves known, and won the game. And whose leaders didn't show up? Geelong's leaders didn't show up. So when we are in that position, do we trust McGrath, Redmond, Wright, those guys to do what maybe not the same level, but they need to be able to do that? That's why we haven't been winning finals, is because our senior core never stands up and takes the game onto their shoulders and wins us the game. That's why we've always been lacking in the finals. And so, like you said, it's just our senior players don't do it. Sorry?
I don't think they know how. I don't think they know how, Richard. Because who taught them? Who came before them to teach them how to do that? That's the problem. And that's why this next group, the 24 to 25-year-olds, is vital, because they're teaching the Gus Clarks and the next lot how to do it, and how to stand up, and how to come with intent and leadership, and be 100% there for your teammates, and non-negotiables on the field, and being all-rounder players, and picking up after your teammate when they're lacking in one area, knowing that they'll pick up after you in another area. No one did that for Langford, the group of Langford, Parish, Ridley. Who came before then? Think of the leaders that came before then. So it's no surprise that they've grown up in a culture at Essendon that's been culturally toxic and shaky foundations. So nobody did that.
It was a shit culture with no leadership, no accountability, no repercussions for not performing. You just kept getting games. Didn't matter how bad you were, coaches' favourites, or the favourites got to play all the time. The young players never got a look in. That's the culture they grew up in, and so surprise, they don't know how to win.
That's right.
So that's why I think, yeah.
And you're right. They don't know how to step up, and they don't have that natural instinct. But a lot has happened, and I think they've personally learnt a lot through the last 12 months, I would say. And I think it needed to happen, and the resilience will be tested. And I can only hope, again, like I was saying with Scooter, that the 24 to 25-year-olds in turn motivate the older boys, because they already have that. They already in bed, and they're already showing the ability to be leaders at that young age. So I can only hope that they motivate the older guys to want to be better.
Yeah, well, they seem to have, at least the young ones seem to have the right attitude, like you're saying, in training and in their sort of their demeanor. They seem to want it, to want to improve and to want to win. So I think that's a good start. That's why I think we're on the right track with them.
Yeah, spot on. All right, Dennis, we might leave it there. Thank you so much for being patient. It was wonderful to see you. And as always, you're an absolute favourite of mine. You always come through with some absolute gold. So thank you so much. Might see you another time this year. As always, take care. And see you soon.
All right, thanks. See ya.
See you, Richard. Bye. All right. Penultimate. Hello, Corey.
How you going?
Good. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. Just cruising along, doing what I need to do.
Good. Thank you for being very patient tonight. What do you want to cover?
What I want to cover, the thing with you've explained a couple of times tonight with Elijah Tsatas wanting to play with a run with role.
Yes,
I want to talk about another player. Sorry. I just want to talk about another player that I think should do not Tsatas' role, but should be told just to play one specific role, and that's Archie Perkins playing just half forward. Just be a forward because that's his one wood.
Oh, okay. Yes, so we ditched the whole pinch hit in the middle.
Yeah, I just think his best asset is his goal kicking because he kicks very accurately. He doesn't kick a lot of goals, but his one wood is kicking goals. You back him more often than not from 40 to 45 metres out, no matter if he's on the run or if he's having a set shot. So I think whoever the forwards coaching Cam Roberts should be telling him, solely focus on just playing half forward and aim for, say, 10 to 15 touches and a goal a game. And if you get 20, 25 goals out of him from that spot, I take that.
I mean, it's hard to argue with you, to be honest. And I don't know. I mean, this is, again, it's if, buts and maybes. But if that full contingent of midfielders are there, there's no room for him in the midfield anyway.
No, not at all. So that's why I solely think if we are drafting midfielders in this upcoming draft, which we most likely will, there's no chance he's playing midfield at Essendon. So focus on just being a half forward and being good at what you are good at, and that's kicking goals.
Yeah, that's a good point. I guess the biggest knock on him as a forward is that he just gets lost.
That is very true. Yeah.
So I get lots of people agreeing with you in the chat. Oh my God, Langy, sorry, just 1 second, Corey. I'm so sorry, Richard. I did call you Dennis. I'm so sorry. Clearly, I am absolutely pedaling downhill as we are near 3 hours. So I'm so sorry, Richard. Forgive me. Do you know why I did it? Because I was reading Dennis's wonderful comment in the chat, and his name was on my mind. But thank you for calling me out, Langy, and Richard, forgive me. Corey, so all right, so he gets lost as a forward. So what do you do? What do you tell him? What do you send him to work on?
Well, so as you said, he gets lost. What's the one thing he doesn't always do? I think it's his tackling pressure. And for someone who's not really he's too small to be in the midfield, to be honest, but he's a good, high half forward. I think even if he averages 3-4 tackles a game, but just has to learn to get a bit of mongrel about him. Yes, it all comes down to confidence too, obviously. And that's the one thing I think that's hurt his career so far.
I think you nailed it just there. Bit of mongrel. Bit more mongrel. When we've seen him with that attitude, it looks like a different player. We just haven't seen it enough. I need to see it more. I need you to go out with that intent and just completely just lock into that mind frame, that mongrel mind frame about you. Take the game by the scruff of the neck, and I think a bit with the confidence thing. If he lays an early tackle or kicks an early goal, I honestly think that's all he needs, but he just doesn't do it enough.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. It's just confidence with him, I believe, and I think he can see the best out of him if he does, like as you said, it's big if, buts and maybes, but if he drums it into himself and just, I know the media blow up about it, we all blow up about it, I'm a victim of it because I can't stand his game sometimes, but for his own confidence, he needs to solely focus on being have the defensive mindset of being an absolute prick and going hard at the ball and just being an influence. Because if you're not being an influence in that forward half, I'm sorry, you're going to play VFL all year and then you're probably going to find yourself out of the team.
I think you just nailed it again. I think he's just too nice out there.
I agree.
I think he's just too nice and he needs to get some arrogance to him. And you can step into a persona when you walk onto the arena, and then you can leave it on the arena, and you don't have to bring that back with you when you're in the change rooms or you're at home or with your families. But when you're out there, I think he needs to strut. Am I wrong? I think he needs to strut about like he's king shit.
100% I agree. If you have, say, I say this from a bloke who I know personally and have known him for 20 plus years. If you have the arrogance and the cockiness of Tom Papley, but have the mentality of wanting to tackle blokes and actually play that role, I reckon I reckon everyone's opinion would change of Archie Perkins tenfold if he did.
Yeah, I could not agree more. I think it's got to be. I think it's as simple as that. I know it's not simple in actioning, because you can't just switch yourself into a persona and into a mode that your nervous system is not used to. But I think that should be the challenge for him, because the talent is there. We know the talent's there, right? It's clearly all in the mind for him, and his nervous system wants to do something, and his mind is telling him not to do it. So I think there's just disconnection there for him.
Yeah, I agree. Like, his best games, he was kicking 2 goals a game and he was having 15, 20 touches. And you say, where's this been? Where's this been all year? Because it had happened once a month. And then he'd have games where he'd have 5 touches and he'd be off in space. You couldn't find him.
Yeah, and you'd look at the strut he gets when he has a game like that, and you think, bring that next week, but then he just doesn't. And so I think for him, he's got to lock in. He's got to lock into the persona and see it as a separate persona walking out every time on the ground. Like, make it your arena, make it your space. As you said, Papley is a good example in the same end of the field. I mean, we don't want him. Everybody hates him unless you're Sydney. You love a player like that who's getting under the nose of opposition. Even when Papley's having a bad game and playing like absolute rubbish, he's still with the strut and the ego and in the faces of other players, because he knows he can turn in a second and he can win the game off his own boot in 1 second. He has that strong sense of self that he knows that is half his game, being a prick.
Yep, pretty much. And knowing him since he was a little kid and playing sport with him from the age of 10, he has not changed since that age. So, yeah, if Archie Perkins can watch anybody's tape over the off-season, go watch Tom Papley.
Yeah, purely for the persona the persona to embody, the confidence, the strut, the sense of self. It's a good shout by you. I like it. How good would we be looking if Elijah Tsatas nails that role and Perko can nail that role? And then you plonk Caddy alongside down there. Langford can kick 50 goals in a season. Kako's just doing his thing. I mean, drool.
Oh, it's a very good proposition to have. I think for Elijah Tsatas, if he does do that, I think you've got to, like you said, if this is his role, he has to now just focus on this to keep his career alive. I don't think it's going to happen overnight, obviously, but even if he starts in the VFL but plays that role and he actually shows it, and then if, say, a guy like Parrish gets injured or someone else gets injured, he comes straight in, because I don't think he starts in our best 23 straight away, just because of the talent that we do have and possibly the draft picks that are mids. I think that probably provide more upside than what Tsatas has at the moment, but he still could turn it around.
Yeah, I mean, I am so on this. I'm on the train. I'm driving this Tsatas train. I think it could be incredible for both Essendon and him. And I'm all about it. I'm locked in. I'm committed to driving this bus all the way to a premiership. No, I'm just kidding. All right, Corey. Well, absolutely love what you brought tonight. Absolutely love it. Perkins was not there today, but he'll be back. I think he'll be back next week. I think the next group come back, and then the week after that, the last ones come. So hopefully see him at training soon. But thank you so much, Corey. As always, take it easy, and I'll see you soon.
No worries. Thank you, Kylie.
Good night. Yeah. All right, everybody. Let's finish on a high. How are you, Noel?
Hey, look at me.
Look at you. He's got his new teeth.
Yay.
Does that mean if I send you some cookies, you'll be able to eat them now?
Oh, yeah, you betcha.
How are you doing, Noel? We haven't seen you for quite a while.
Yeah, I've been busy and you've been on at different times. And I've been keeping an eye on things. Been watching over you.
Good.
Making sure you're doing okay and you're doing well.
Good. What's the go? What have you been doing? How's the comedy going?
Yeah, a couple of new venues. I emceed a couple of shows and I did a gig on Wednesday and Friday, and Saturday I did an interview show, which was interesting, where you do 3 minutes of 4 or 5 minutes of comedy, and then they interview you afterwards. So that was something a bit different. Yeah. So and there's a new place in the city I did a gig at as well. So Yes, that was cool. Yes, a little bit. Been working on a few things. Been to a couple of. I went to the AFL games. I've been going to the girls, watching the girls play. So still get my bit of footy in. You know?
They were a bit
But,
disappointing, weren't they, to finish the season?
Yeah,
Or to finish-
well, they suffered the same fate as the boys. They had so many injuries. We had 3 went down with ACLs, so the curse has continued.
I mean, just terrible.
Yeah. I was speaking to a couple of the parents of some of the girls there, and a lady I was standing next to was she knows Andrew Walsh quite well. Got him on her Instagram or something. So I think one of her friends plays in the AFLW team too. But yeah, I had a thing about Merritt, which I thought was interesting. A dream scenario for you. He wins another.
I think your neighbours sabotaging your Wi-Fi. Oh no, you're back.
No, I've got Big Brother on as well. I'm a big fan.
Big
of
Brother, is that still a thing? Big Brother,
Yeah,
is it?
it just restarted, and they're doing live in the house. You can watch 24 hours a day. So you can watch them while they're sleeping and all sorts of stuff.
But is it Australian or American?
Yeah, the Australian one. Yeah, it's gone back. It's gone back to the original idea. That, 9 and 7 scripted it way too much, and nobody liked it. So we'll see if it goes any good. They all seem like a bunch of yahoos, and they're not the most interesting people. But anyway, my scenario was that Merritt wins the best and fairest again. We make the finals, but he's injured and misses, and we beat Hawthorn in that final. That would be the ultimate. I'd love to see that happen.
I mean,
that would be the ultimate. Up yours, Zach. I'd also love it if when he turns up at training on in the next week, when he turns up at training, that all the players are wearing Hawthorn jumpers. I wonder what sort of sense of humour he's got. I wonder how we could take that.
I don't think he's got a very good sense of humour. Just at a guess. Let's just say
we're not that sort of club to do that kind of joke either, which is unfortunate because they used to do that sort of stuff. But as far as the final 10, I'm not. It's a money grabber as far as I see. It's a way of making more money, and there'll be a way in which we'll bugger it up. Because either the AFL, the umpires, or us will bugger it up and we'll finish 11th.
So you're a traditionalist. You.
There's no traditional left, is there?
That's true.
They've taken a bounce out of the game now, so soon they'll be taking tackling out of the game because it's too dangerous. You'll have to tap them on the shoulder to get a free kick. No contact sport. They've what the last touch rule has been brought in as well now. That's another rule.
God, I hate that rule. I hate that rule. Everybody loves it.
I can see us getting. I can see us getting a goal kicked against us for that rule.
Do you know my issue with that rule is, aren't we trying to make it easier for the umpires? I can so see every game the umpire being like, oh, who last touched that? That's another thing they have to think about and remember and worry about.
Yeah.
The game moves so fast, I don't even see who the ball comes off, whose foot it comes off or hand it comes off last. How are the umpires going to keep track of that? They're not going to even know half the time. We're just giving them an extra word.
And they've got enough to worry about with buggering up the Brownlow medals. You can't get the votes right. That whole thing with Tsatas was hilarious. He didn't get the votes in that final game, which he shouldn't have. And then he doesn't win the best and fairest anyway.
Yeah.
So I kind of thought that was quite funny, but they've got more things to worry about. I mean, now they've got to worry about whether whose shoelace touched the ball first. But it's designed to make the game faster. Isn't the game fast enough?
No, it's designed to not make the game faster. It's designed to shorten the time. Every rule change that they have implemented, they made it a point to specify how much time that was going to shave off the quarter. And I just think the time the umpires spend worrying about whose last possession it was is going to just add to the time that you wanted to save. Anyway, that's my theory.
Well, they've changed the you don't have to nominate for the ruck now, so that's stacking out. So anyone can go up for the ruck. So that's supposed to save time. Whoever's in the vicinity, I'm balling it up. Whoever's there, they take it. You don't have to nominate.
No, I don't think that's the rule. I think it's that if there's no ruckman, they still have to nominate. But if there's no ruckman present, the umpire can just throw it in. But if the ruckman have nominated it on the other side of the ground, I'm pretty sure that's the rule. Somebody tell me in chat.
Yeah, and of course the centre bounce has changed, which helps players who can jump up and all that sort of stuff. So that sort of helps a bit.
Don't you like that? I thought someone like you would love that.
Yeah, so whenever they're throwing the ball up, it makes no difference, does it? With the bounce, you've got the unevenness of the bounce, which makes the contest more. It's sort of now they've levelled the playing field. If I just throw the ball straight up, it's level. You know, whereas the bounce can go this way, can go that way. You know, there's a little bit. But yeah, I'm always I like the bounce. The bounce should still be they should still bounce the ball for the start of the game. They can do it. They can throw it up the rest of the time, but I think for the start of every quarter, that traditional bounce I think is what should be there. But it's a skill the umpires can't do. So therefore, we have to change the rules because we're incompetent. If you're incompetent, we change the rules. You know, blokes can't kick, so we change the rules. You know, that's how the game works. It just
sounds so dumb. It's just when you spell that out, it sounds so freaking dumb. Like we're just rewarding incompetency. We're just bending towards incompetency instead of effort into helping them be more competent.
What's the shimmy thing now? If you shimmy in a tackle, it's going to be called you've had possession. We're never going to get a hold of the ball decision ever paid to us ever again. They've made a certainty of it. They're plenty paid against us, but we will never get one ever paid to us ever again. I think the last one we got was when Sheedy was coach. I think we got 9 in a row one year. But yeah, the shimmy now. If you shimmy, I mean that's to stop that dickhead from Hawthorn, isn't it? You know, doing his little what's his name, Ginnifer, or his name is. They got
Ginnifer.
Then they name a train station after him. Oh, that's Jennifer. Similar. Jennifer Station. It's down in Water Gardens.
After him, surely they didn't name it.
After him. Yeah. I just thought, you would have thought so. Yeah,
you can't play tricks on me. It's too late. I've been going at this too long. No, my brain doesn't know what to do anymore.
It's too late in the night for you. For those type of things.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
All right.
I had an idea. Maybe we can discuss it on a via email or whatever. But I'd like to do a live chat and go over an old game, like from the 80s or the 90s. Yeah, because there's plenty of games on YouTube that you don't have to have copyright for. There's tons of them on there, or maybe a quarter, and we can watch it together. And I can tell you a bit about the player, or we can discuss some of the old games, and you can give us your view as to whether you reckon the game was better then or worse then, or what you like, what you didn't like, about how the game was back in the, when I was growing up in the 80s and 90s, when we had a freaking good side, they had good players. All those sorts of things.
Hey, do the people want to see that? If the people want to see that and watch that and tune in for that, then we might do that.
Because I like that idea you had with the little novelty one you did with the pig on the field and.
Yes, the reaction.
There's a really cute one of the rugby league where a 3-year-old kid got on the field and they let him run across the field to score a try. It was in a charity match, and someone's kid got on the field with a ball, so they just let him run, and then they picked him up and put him over the try line so he could score. Yeah, so that was quite a cute one. Yeah, but it may be something like that, because I just think it would be interesting to see your view of what you think of the old games and what they were like and the differences.
Well, they do play them at the they do rotate them on Fox Footy, and then obviously at the gym they've got Fox Footy, and I'm always watching, and I'm just in awe of the body shapes. I just don't know how they played football back there. They're so clunky and chunky and bulky and just like it's just they would just not be able to play this game today, and the players today will not be able to play those games games because they die.
I look at it that with the training methods we have, some of them would make it, and some of the guys who play now wouldn't make it then, because if you had any ability, they thumped you. You can't get away with that. You can't do that now. So if you had any skills or abilities, you needed to be very good at getting away from being thumped, because they would thump you. It was part of the game. So
Noel, Langy wants to watch the 95 grand final.
Oh yeah, really? 95 wasn't bad, was it?
Yeah, if it's an old full house at Windy Hill, I'd watch the shit out of that. Do they have games streamed at Windy Hill on YouTube?
There are a few, yep. There's the very famous 1981 game against Carlton, where Neil Danaher did some great things in the last quarter. And right where I was about 40 metres from where I was standing was an all-in punch-up, which Lou Richards was commentating about the all-in punch-up and the guy getting taken away. That was quite funny. But yeah, that was a massive game. That was at Princess Park though. That wasn't at Windy Hill. But there are a lot of Windy Hill games on TV.
Is there?
There are, you
okay.
can get them, yeah. I
wouldn't mind watching a game with any of the Danahers, because the earliest games from back then that I remember watching would be 2000, the year 2000. I remember watching a few games, not internalizing it as much as I would now, obviously, but the year 2000. Yeah. So anything before that, dense.
And you'd have to see Simon Madden, the greatest ruckman to ever play for us. To see some of his football, particularly 84 and 85 in a grand final. He was fantastic. But he was, when you look at that 84 side, there was players that were started in 1977 who played in that final series. They had long careers to get there.
Wow.
So they weren't a question of hands. Banter had been there for a long time. Nobby Clark, Madden, they all started way back in the 70s, mid-70s, under Des Tuddenham. And, the game looks a bit slower when you look at the 80s and 90s games, but it'd be interesting to see the toughness. The 93 preliminary final is quite a good one. I also, and that's the game against Adelaide. Classic, interesting match.
Did we win that?
Tim Watson was in that.
Did we win that?
Yes, we did. We came from 42 points down at half time against the Adelaide Crows to get up and win that game and go on to win the play.
I must say, I do have a soft spot for a comeback. So any comeback win. So that was a comeback win. What was the game, the biggest comeback that we've had?
The one against North in 2001. That was a big one.
Oh, no,
and also we had a big game, I think it was in 91 or 92 against Melbourne. We were 48 points down and they kicked the first goal of the last quarter. And
that's the vibe. The comeback vibes. Those two sound good. I reckon if we do
and
this,
also
we should
that Carlton game against the Essendon Carlton game. What's unique about the 81 was they could not beat us. Practice games, preseason games, we won 15. I think it was 13 or 14 in a row against Carlton. They could not beat us. We would play across Keys in Essendon in a practice game, and they still couldn't beat us, no matter where we played them. And we beat Collingwood and Carlton that year twice, and they played off in the grand final. We beat both those sides twice, and we won 15 games in a row that year. And Neil Danaher then did his knee, and that was the end of us. We got beaten in the elimination final. And weirdly enough, we won enough games that year, 16 or 17, to normally we would have finished third. But it was such a good competition, we finished fifth. So, of course, we were unlucky. But that one was an amazing win because Carlton was celebrating midway last quarter, 4 or 5 goals up. They're celebrating. They've kicked a big goal, and then everything just fell into place. There was other great one was that Hawthorn one you would remember as well. We took
Pat, thank you for the 5. I appreciate you. Tim Watson debut at 15 still blows my mind. What year was that again? What year was Tim Watson's
77.
debut?
He's 77.
Did we win that game?
I was at that game. It was a draw. It was against Richmond. It was a draw. Yeah, and there was a moment in the game where he's running into an open goal, and there was 3 Essendon players in front of him, and he wanted to handball it to him. Said, "No, you kick and get your first goal, son." Yeah, so they let him kick his first goal. So he could have handballed it to a teammate. They said, "No, kick your first goal." So that it was 15, and it was a draw against the Tigers. Emmett Dunn missed. I think if I remember rightly, Emmett Dunn missed a shot for goal late in the last, just before the siren or something to make that a draw. Yeah. And I think
what about this one? What about this one from Dennis? This will make Jez happy.
Yeah.
There's another classic, 1978 at Windy Hill versus Richmond, stormed home from 5 goals down. This is the vibe. I'm feeling the comeback. I really do love a comeback.
To me, I love a good comeback. I love a good. I still love that Brisbane one against Geelong, the miracle on grass, when they had 19 seconds or 90 seconds to go. It was only a couple of years ago. Brisbane were 40 odd points down against Geelong. Geelong had it won. And in the dying seconds, and literally there was 2 seconds left when they kicked the ball.
Was that a final?
No, it was just an ordinary match. Yeah. They had 2 seconds to go, and they kicked it to the guy who was playing. I think he was playing his 200th game that day, and he kicked the winning goal after the bell. They got up. That miracle on grass. Anthony Hudson's called it the miracle on grass. That's another one you should look up. It's a classic last quarter. They were done. That was another good game.
The Essendon Geelong game where Ablett and Salmon kicked bags at each end in 93. Ooh, that sounds enticing. But did we win that?
Yes, Ablett kicked 14 and they lost. He kicked 14 and Salmon kicked 10. And Salmon was on one leg in the last quarter. He had a leg injury and he stayed on the ground just so he could get the 10. And then she kicked him off.
Excuse me. Imagine kicking 14 and losing.
Yeah.
Oh, you just hand in your resignation. You hand in your resignation and you say, if I have to kick 14 and we still lose, well, this shit ain't worth it.
I think Tony Lockett did too. I think Tony Lockett kicked 12 in a game and lost, I think.
That's ridiculous areas. I'm sorry. That's absurd.
But that was an amazing game. I think Ablett had he had Kickett on him. He had James Hird played on him. He had about 4 or 5 opponents that day. Even James Hird had to go down in the last line to play on him because we had nobody left. But yeah, he kicked 14.
All the time, Shado kicking that many goals and losing. Oh no, fuck that.
It's happened a few times. But I was mentioning before the only time in history where the team that won the Wooden Spoon also won the flag in the same year. It's only ever happened once ever in history of football. It was 1916 during the war. There was only 4 teams in the competition. Fitzroy finished on the bottom, only won 2 games for the year. They had to play finals because it was the Final 4, and they won every game, and they won the flag. So they won the Wooden Spoon and the Premiership in the same year.
That's ridiculous. Now we're fading into the ridiculousness. But I think I reckon
I love them.
I reckon maybe in the gap in December, January, when there's no training, no football, no nothing, maybe we can do one, Noel. All right, but you got to find the clip. You got to find the non-copyright. The video.
They're on YouTube, and I don't think there's any issue because they're all old games, and AFL doesn't jump up and down about the VFL stuff. Plus, there's ABC.
But if it's going to get me cancelled or black banned on YouTube,
no, then I shouldn't think so. I think you can put a disclaimer that it's only for research purposes thing at the start of your video. I know a lot of the reaction channels do that, and it's legally state this is for research purposes only. So therefore you can play it. But I don't think you'd have an issue. We'd check it out, obviously. But
but you got to do that work for me.
I'll check all that out.
I don't have to. So if you come with all the information and the game, then we'll lock it in and we'll do it. We'll do a live. So
because I'd love to see how you think of the style of game, how it was played. Because I think in those days you had probably 4 or 5 players who had skills and abilities that could use a footy and were very good. You had a couple of players who were thugs, and then you had a couple of players who were the average sort of player. So that worked your team out. So your best players were your classy players.
Yeah, that's the vibe. So everybody will. I will send a link out to the stream of the video, and then you'll have 2 windows open. One with us, and then you can watch the stream either that way, or I will have it streaming on Bomber Banter, and then Noel and I will be down the bottom in the picture, so you'll be able to watch it on the channel as opposed to streaming it elsewhere. So we'll see what works, but we'll do that.
I'll leave the technical stuff to you because you know how good I am with the technical stuff. But
you just find the game.
I'll give you the links.
I want to watch a comeback. The most interesting one we have prior to 2000. So that would be good. All right, Noel, I'll leave that homework with you. Thank you so much for being patient.
It's great to be back on. It's great to see you. Look forward to seeing what we've got with the draft coming up. I have no idea what players are what, but I've heard some names. Let's hope we don't train the shit out of them and ruin them. Like we normally do. But I think things are looking okay. I think we can make finals. I think we can with a 10 now, but who knows? Who knows? It would just be an upwards to the AFL if we could do it. So it'd be great. Anything like that's good. But good to see you back on.
You too. Good to see you kicking alive and well. Go enjoy your big brother Noel.
19th of November at the Bar Humbug in Little Burke Street in the city. I'm emceeing the comedy nights at 8 o'clock, so come down. It's a very good night, good little audience, nice little bar, and nice friendly atmosphere. So, come down and check us out.
Wonderful. Thank you, Noel. Take care. We'll talk to you soon. All right, everybody. It's been a great night. Before you head off, please hit that subscribe button, hit the like button on your way out. It has been wonderful. We have covered an absolute shit ton. I'm exhausted. It has been a very long day, but the time has flown as it does usually here because I've enjoyed holding space and keeping space and being part of your space for the last few hours. So thank you so much, as always, for tuning in. Thank you to the chat, everyone who jumped on. Absolutely wonderful. Loved seeing you all and talking to you all. Don't know when the next one will be. To be honest, as usual, it'll probably be spontaneous, potentially draft night. Myself and another a guest will join me and we'll do a live stream of draft night, the first night, just that first night one. And that would be good. Otherwise, you'll see me potentially. I'll pop up. If you're not following on Instagram, join us over there. It's a completely different vibe. I post completely different stuff over there. So obviously Bomber Banter on Instagram, Bomber Banter on X. No worry, Doon. Good to have you here. Anyway, thank you, everybody. Thank you, Langy. Yes, absolutely. This is the energy. Give her a like on the way out and hit that subscribe button. As I said, all right, I'm ranting now. She's too tired. Take care, everybody. I had to tell you one more thing. I've just lost it. I got it and I lost it in the same breath. How's that? Okay. I'm going to bed, everybody. Everybody else go to bed. Take care and I'll see you soon. Good night.